You know, Isaiah, the more I think about it, the more we should just go back to the Cobb Energy Center. The fans loved it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Hey, let's ask Bart.
Keys, where are my keys?
Hey, Bart, what do you think about going back to Hires Expo at the Cobb Energy Center?
I like it.
It just feels good to be back, doesn't it? That's exactly right. HRX, High-Res Expo, going to be happening at the Cobb Energy Center back in January as well, which I know works better for some of you all, so hopefully you're looking forward to it as much as I am. But back to the SCC qualifiers. We're in the middle of those group stages, about to go into set number 3 between JustF6 and I believe Pikarinoobs, and JustF6 are the team we're kind of going to be following all day long to see how their path ends up going here. Gormizer, we saw them earlier on today, and I think they actually impressed us, didn't I? I mean, I was a bit surprised. I was not expecting
they were
to look
able
that strong.
to hold their own pretty well against 60. Again, some things started to slip out of control for them. Sotos is definitely one of the kind of stars that I have my eyes on. The jungle was definitely more impactful, I think, from them than what we got to see. The problem is Pikarinoobs are strong. And I mean, I said the same thing about 60 earlier. We saw how they were able to handle them, but they got one game up and then lost 2 in a row. You don't want to do that multiple times. One, because you absolutely will get knocked out of contention for the circuit, but you're going up against overpowered USB, Rapio, Pikarino himself, and Davey specifically are the names that I'm kind of looking at when it comes down to it, just because you've got 3 guys who were really good on console, and then Pikarino who kind of showed up and absolutely blew me away a few weeks ago when we got to see what he was able to accomplish from that mid lane.
Yeah, it's a bit surprising, hasn't it? It feels like we've got actually a lot more of those console teams than I expected from that EU Xbox scene, and they've all been playing well, so I'm excited to see what we're going to be seeing here from Davey, some of the rest of those guys, from Rapio as well. I expect them to be able to put up a pretty strong fight here. Sort of as you said, I think this Pikarinoobs team might be a bit sneaky good for what some of those other teams were expecting. So into the picks and bans we go. We shall delay you all no longer. It'll be Pikarinoobs in that first spot. JustF6 will have to make up for it with the second spot. Hopefully no more Morgans making it through.
Yeah, that's going to, well, yeah, immediately she's not going to be making it through. I think every now and then, one of the top bands, I think, deserves to make it through the top band.
Just as a reminder.
Just to make sure everyone remembers why they get banned so much. Because it's always that question like, man, is Morgan going to be able to accomplish that much? Like, what can she do? It's like, well, we saw what she can do. Get rid of her. Just keep her off the board for a while.
Does Kukulkan really give you that much objective confirmation? Oh, yeah, he does. Let's get that band away, too.
Right.
Yeah, we don't want to deal with that.
I think things like that, like when Camazotz comes through, Camazotz is actually a really rare instance because, like, some games he makes it through, and it's like that fresh reminder of like, oh, yeah, let's ban him again. Yeah. And then sometimes you watch and you're like, that wasn't that bad. Why do we have to ban him away? Let's let him through one more time.
And sometimes it ends up being too heavy of a price for you to have to pay. So I like this. These bans are all fairly standard. The Yemoja, the Camazotz, the Morgan all taken off, the Kukulkan, the Merlin, the Unbots. Xing Chen, I know, is someone that's getting highly valued lately, so he could certainly get picked up. Persephone, still available too, and that's going to be what Pikarinoobs choose to take with their very first overall pick.
And that's more than likely going to Pikarino himself, somebody, you know, namesake of the team when it comes down to it. And my biggest issue really, realistically, with Persephone lately is nothing about her, but really the consistency we've seen, the level of play with her. Some teams have made it look phenomenal, and we've seen her be maybe the reason her team wins. You go back to yesterday, the one that sticks out to me, I'm sorry to rip on you, but Shadow Chair had a not-so-stellar game with her. It didn't really translate to what you expect out of Persephone, especially with how high she has to be valued. And if you have that wide of an array of games for her, then you never really know what you're going to get seeing her locked in this early.
Odin gets locked in alongside the Xing Chen here for Pikarinoobs. But I'm a bit surprised at how highly valued Bacchus has been these last few days. He's been getting picked up a little bit more. At least while we've been here in Europe, at the very least, Bacchus has been getting picked up. Are you on board here with all this Bacchus we're seeing?
I like Bacchus. I don't know if he's my go-to support. And I'm going to go ahead and say it. I don't think he needs to be in your top 2. I think you could absolutely swing him as a 5th pick and maybe even force things out. Like, if you're not picking up your Guardian at this point in the game, all of a sudden Pikarinoobs are maybe looking at banning out like a Geb. Maybe they're looking at other supports. Kumba, who's been actually kind of nutty
some of those
these last
aggressive
couple of days.
supports. You've seen some of those
being able to come through. But Bacchus that early, it worked for him earlier once, but can you keep it up? Is it worthwhile picking him up this early? I like him. He's aggressive. He does good damage. is it going to pay off? It did once for them again earlier, and that's kind of what I hope to see.
Well, the Vamana locked in for JustF6, and this guy has been a real nightmare for teams to deal with lately since his return back to prominence. He just feels almost unpeelable. He is going to pick a carry in the back line, sit on them, and tell them to stop playing Smite. So whoever it is that he ends up picking in the back line, the Persephone or whatever hunter they lock in, good luck trying to get away from him.
I mean, JustF6, if I remember correctly, this is almost the exact draft they ran, if not the exact draft they ran earlier against 60. And it didn't do him too well. The Vamana didn't get to take off. Bacchus on the Chaos side for some reason. I think he was 0-6 that game. The Jing never got anywhere. The Thor. And I think it was the Scylla. I actually think this might be an exact runback of that game against 60. And it didn't work out for him well then. Granted, Pikarinoobs, it's the first game, so they're going to have to adapt to the style of play. That might give F6 the exact benefit they need.
I don't know, man. I mean, Scylla does some things well, but I don't know why we're seeing this much of her. I feel like she's been in every other game here to this point, but these players are valuing her. They're going to keep locking it in. She's got some opportunity with the decent setup from the Thor and the Bacchus to be able to find that damage here in this next game, Gormizer. But we are just about ready to start game number 1. It's Hindu Man and Aggro on the mic.
Thanks so much, analysts, on the casual set consortium of whatever.
Consortium of knowledge.
Okay, I've not seen much knowledge so far, but it's a consortium, I guess, for the most part.
That was rude. Gormizers are doing a great job.
Oh, they can hear this, can't they? I forgot about that.
Yeah, they're right over there.
Oops.
You can make fun of Finch all you want, but I will stand for no Gormizer slander.
That's true, especially with that Blue's Clues notebook. You expect very knowledgeable.
Handy dandy.
And to be fair, he did mention that JustF6 ran this composition earlier on today, up against 60, and didn't find the result they were after.
No, not in that set for sure, but I still think the draft is good. They've got good setup for the Scylla, they've got good CC, good enough damage.
Good enough damage there coming through from Totti, who was getting very aggressive alongside this Bacchus. And sure, in the early game, I would say Pikarinoobs in the duel lane are going to struggle a little bit against this, I would say. Hachi isn't too bad at wave clear, but Xing definitely struggles.
Yeah, Xing Chen usually takes a back seat a little bit in the lane, but really good at playing aggressively when it comes to poking. Usually you see him paired with more aggressive clear hunters. Hachiman, not really that. I mean, Jing Wei's not really a clear hunter either, but Bacchus is so aggressive. He can clear the wave pretty well these days, doesn't have that same weakness that he used to. And of course, Belly Flop is such a great fight turner that it's difficult to fight into him.
Well, really important set, this one, between these two, because Pikarinoobs have kind of struggled so far in the group stages. Some of those games haven't been broadcast so far. However, JustF6, we got to see them take on 60 earlier on today, and they did struggle there as well. So this is almost a do or die for both these two teams to really stay in relevant contention. And I would be favoring Pikarinoobs. I think the fans at home will be too.
I think they had a much better showing in the week that they qualified into the group stages. This was an impressive team whenever they made their way through. I mean, you've got Rapio, Gnome, Davy. These guys played together quite a bit and just have played a lot of competitive Smite on the console scene. And JustF6 ended up losing to a team that was very similar and then it had a bunch of console recognition at the same time. Rapio is kind of the premier European console player in my mind and has really translated that over very nicely to the PC. I'm excited to see if he can continue to do it on a hyper carry in the Mercury.
Now, we did mention as well JustF6 composition being one that we saw them run earlier on, whereas Pikarinoobs, first 3 picks, Persephone, Xing, Odin.
That's pretty good.
Follow that on with a Mercury, thanks very much, right? I mean, you can't be complaining there at all.
No, this is a pretty stacked draft for Pikarinoobs, and I'm surprised that they got what they got, frankly. I mean, the Odin pick, maybe not as good as you would like it to be. Basically, every character on JustF6 can get out of it, but that's less of a big deal than it used to be with Odin because the cage will still deal damage on their way out. So you can blink in, drop the cage. Let's say Doku uses Sentinel, gets out. He's getting hit by that spear that comes flying out of the cage, and then you get to jump after him and still do Odin things after the fact. And Odin things are just better now than they used to be because of that stun added into the kit. I just think that with Xing Chen in particular, Xing Chen and Persephone and Odin, that's a lot of gods that you have to be ready for at all times.
Mobile.
And then there's Mercury, who can just one-shot you in the end of the game. It's a tough composition to go against. I definitely favor Pikarinoobs.
Well, we did have a little look at Rapio go towards that right-hand side for that solo lane gank earlier on. He was kind of looking for CaptainOti and the rotation back from base. But as you can see, Oti here on this Vamana went for the blink start, not the teleport. So now he's going to look for an opportunity in mid instead. Rapio gearing up for a shot on Doku. No wards available to see this coming through as it will connect. Beans haven't been used just yet. Has to be after the fact. But Sotos was there nicely with the wall to prevent some damage. Still, though, Pikarino had his ultimate available and will secure first blood for the Pikarinoobs.
Really good job of going in waves there for Pikarinoobs. Rapio in first. Doku very late on the beads, though. I mean, he looked at Rapio, and you can tell he's got his ult charged. And you got to just hover your finger over those beads. You should be able to beat that pretty quickly. A little bit too late. He takes a little bit too much damage. Mizzega goes in, knocks up. That means Doku has to Sentinel to the side, and Pikarino is holding that ultimate the entire time and guarantees it very nicely after that dash. That's good communication and a good execution of the 3v3.
Credit where it's due for Sotos, though. I love the wall that he got out straight away, almost
It was
reactionary. Quicker than the beads, in my opinion.
Yep. Yeah, maybe if he could have walled off the ult, that would have been an insane play, but certainly a good play by him. Either way, just needed a little bit of extra help from the mid laner.
Now that first blood did go over to Pikarino in the mid lane on the Persephone, so we'll see if she can accelerate her build a little bit more so. At the moment, though, hasn't traveled back to base just yet, just for those tier 2 boots so far. With RemagDoku dying in that mid lane, he had to fall back and got that Shoes of Focus. And Rapio going to do the same thing. It will be the Shoes of Focus rush once again. Is it still expected this year that we're going to see the boots as the main first thing to be picked up?
Yeah, unless you're going stacking, you just need the mobility. Smite is a game where you get to rotate a lot in the early game, and just because of how potent wave clear is.
Yeah.
And so if your opponent has boots and you don't, they're going to get to far more fights than you. And they're just really efficient for their cost.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I mean, these major focus boots, at least for mages, cooldown and mana, right?
Yeah, and a good amount of power on them for very cheap. It's a core item for the vast majority of everybody, especially the cooldown boots.
We're going to rotate in, get the Bacchus, Sonic Boom used by Rapio in mid, but Doku avoided that one. Up down from Rottwen wasn't the best idea. He had Sotos in backup, and the monster comes through. Sotos will at least get Rapio, but so far it's a 1-for-1. Support for a jungler as they're chasing on for a double for Sotos on this door. Nice blink out from Mizangi to avoid the damage out of Doku. But is there going to be any further follow-up? No, Sotos going to fall back. 2-for-1.
Ooh, oh no, Davey catches his back. And
Oh, the wall
Sotos,
catch.
wrong
that was
way,
cool.
homie. If he just would have gone through the
Through the
wall,
wall, yeah.
towards his own mid-harpy, Soto's out.
I give him some benefit of the doubt there, but at the same time, I probably would have jumped over the wall in the first place before backing, right?
Right.
Little
I
bit
mean,
lazy.
his hammer was down, I think, when he started that back. But yes, a little. You got to keep that. You can't start shopping until you are back in base when you're backing in enemy territory. Bit caught sleeping.
It's funny because like even all pros do this. We've seen it happen at every single level of competition.
Yep.
And it's still something that people underestimate, right?
All the
And
time.
just so many times we see kills dropped or kills lost based off that factor.
It's crazy. You know, you'd think that they would learn, but I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I've been
We all
playing
are,
for how
yeah.
long, and it's just. It's so efficient, Hindu, man. If I don't have to press I when I get in base, I can press it beforehand. I buy right there, and then I'm out of base faster.
Yep. You get your shop open ready.
Yeah, exactly.
Go into the right section to find your item. I get it.
It's perfect. You know, it's looking at the restaurant menu before you go to the restaurant, and that way you don't have to waste time. You can sit down.
You say that, and then your server turns up late, right?
I know,
and then
all
you're
the
like,
time.
"Ah."
And they're like, can I get you drinks? And we're like, actually, we're ready to order. And they're like, okay, but let's do drinks first. But then you know
And then
that
it disappears.
means for so long, and we just got water. How long can it? I don't know.
Disaster. Now Mizzega, I guess. is what it is,
yeah.
On the Xing 10 here. He did start the game off with his Hand of the Gods consumable, which is one of the newer ones. I'm a bit surprised though that we've not seen him, use it at some point in this earlier stage of the game. Is it worth just holding on at this point with it and waiting for, that invade when you're 1v3 trying to defend it on your own? Is that the idea now?
I guess. I'm not a big fan.
It's not worth selling, right?
I think I would either sell it or
Really?
I would
use
just
it.
go, all right, we're doing red buff.
Yep.
Hog it.
Pop. I thought in the first rotation, the second rotation of purple, we'd probably see that get used there. And I think that's one of the things we might see more of this year with these teams, because these invade strategies, this Hand of the Gods is there, but it can put you at a deficit by using it.
It's still 100 gold. You're not getting it for free in the build, so it's.
Is it 150?
No, it's 100.
Oh, okay. I thought it was 150.
100 gold.
That's not as bad as I thought then. I thought
Still
it
a
was going to
pretty
be a lot
hefty
worse.
investment. I mean, that's 2 potions. That's a lot of effective
I mean,
HP.
if it's a support's used to not getting any gold. Rapio forced to beads away from the wall, and as Mizzega comes in there to try and slow down Sotos, he'll just rotate back, although CaptainOti's now making a rotation towards mid too. Big 4-man group and out of JustF6, and now Thor to the sky, looking for a prime target. It will be the Jing 10, not the best one you're after. With the escapability he's got, JustF6 will not find a kill, but now Odin is back and blinking in from Mizzega, trying to throw him back into the ring, but that's not going to work out as well as you hope for. Good enough, though, for Pikarinoobs to get another kill.
Yeah, the wall maybe not doing as much damage as you would think, because Gnome just keeps him from going towards his team, but good reinitiation. Mizzega's played the Xing very well.
Oh, yeah.
So far, has been in the right spots at the right time, has initiated well, and just a good recognition. I don't know if Rottwen didn't have his leap up, or I don't know. I mean, Rottwen could have blinked in reaction to the blink from Mizzega, but not able to get it off in time.
Well, gold is around even, a little bit of a head for Pikarinoobs, even though it's 4-2. I will note, though, as we chuck him in the duo lane there, I'm still not a fan of this Totti build, you know, this Assy rush, especially on someone like Jing 10, right? Sorry, Jing Wei, I should say. I understand that trying to get, it's a good item. Is it first item worthy? I just don't see it.
Me neither. I think that this was the conversation I had with Dolson earlier. It is everything you want. It is power, flat pen, attack speed, lifesteal, and a relevant passive. Sounds phenomenal. Why wouldn't I want this early? But it's all of those things, but not enough of any of them is the way that I would describe it.
I'd say the power is the biggest loss, right?
Yeah, you just don't do a whole lot with the Aussie. And that's the big thing when you compare it to the Bloodforge power spike that Davey just got. That's 75 power. I mean, look, flat pen is worth a lot of power.
Really is.
It's really,
what,
really
20
strong.
power, 55 gap there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. 15 flat pen makes up for... You could basically 2.5x your flat pen. That's the amount of power that that item is giving you. And that's still not enough.
Thor in the sky again. No, looking at Gnome this time. Will connect. The wall is already down, or the ring is down for Gnome. And he's going to have a hard time getting out of this one. Sure, Odin's strong right now. But can he still escape? Well, the leap's good. The blink in from CaptainOti. Rapio there with a sonic boom to end his life. And now the grasp of death was there, but it won't slow down Oti. He's tanky enough for now, still looking for Gnome. But Gnome doing a very good job of buying as much time for his team. And just in time for the ring around the roses. Mizzega credited with the kill.
Yeah, that's something right there that Gnome gets out of that one. I mean... Odin, I don't know if that's Odin or if that's just the Breastplate of Valor pickup, because normally you're seeing Glad Shield in that spot. If that's 10% CDR, Gnome is 1,000% dead. But the fact that he gets his shield up in time, it's very little slivers of HP both times. A beautiful ultimate by Rapio, perfect by him to stop Sotos from following up, because that hammer would have certainly done it, and Rapio's able to basically insta-kill him off of it with that Erendite finished. But that's the thing about Odin, is that with this iteration, where instead of that spin that's pretty quick and then it's over with, between channeling the 3, jumping, and shielding, he's always doing something.
He's always got a button to press.
He's always got a button to press. There's always something to do. And with that 20% CDR, it's even easier for Gnome to always have something to do. And that's a good example of it right there. He's not just running around without buttons up. He's doing something.
And there's a chance there that you can look from JustF6 point of view and say, hey, when the rotation came in from Rapio, Oti could have left. And instead he continued on for the kill. It was a really good job from Gnome to buy time, but I really think he should have just backed up.
I agree. And Odie probably feeling like he should have gotten the kill in the first place. I don't know if we were locked into Rapio at that time. Maybe he missed an auto or two on Gnome, because I feel like that should have been a kill with Odie's blink ult, but ends up not going his way, and that's a bit of a tilter. And you also don't want to get Odin ahead, because that new Gungnir's Might swings when he is ahead. It does a lot of damage, but you have to be able to channel the whole thing in melee range for that to really be the case, and that's not always easy to do. If you can, you're doing a lot. 560 base damage if you can get hit with every pulse and the throw.
Seems pretty good, you know, and a stun.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Just in case you need a bit of setup with Odin, for your bird bomb combo that's going to follow, right?
Yeah, but that puts all his buttons on cooldown at the very least. There's some good news if you're a mage.
A couple of power spikes coming through from mid then. Pikarino has finished his Chronos Pen and the Divine Ruin. Lifesteal's not hugely needed in this game. Also, anti-heal in this game isn't hugely needed, but I will say it's such a cost-efficient item for these mid laners these days, Divine Ruin.
It is, and you're buying it against Vamana every game.
Good point.
It's pretty simple. You see Vamana, you buy Divine Ruin, because otherwise it's going to be really, really hard to kill him.
I just think of Cursed Onk every time. I just shut him down with Cursed Onk.
Yeah, and you can still go Onk. You just, you're basically guaranteed to kill him if you have the buttons up to do so. But Divine makes it so that even if your Cursed Onk is down, you've got a chance at it.
And meanwhile, on the other side of that, RemagDoku on this Scylla went for the Spear of the Magus first of all. So Spear of Desolation earlier on here. Hasn't finished off the Chronos Pendant or Rottwen this time around. Do you like the Spear Rush before finishing?
Yeah, this is an interesting start. I think there's something that not enough players have explored is the
just leave it,
hold Restored Artifact, then finish Charon's or Rod later on, or Chronos Pendant, though not on Scylla because she's not really a CDR dependent character. I think this is fine. just not in love with... Deso's a really, really good item. It's a lot of power, it's CDR, it's flat pen. All those stats are really strong, but it is a little bit expensive.
Yeah.
Is this really the first item that I want? Not always. It feels a little bit lackluster, but maybe in conjunction with the Restored Artifact, because there was a while where starting Mage's Blessing Magic Focus, finishing Boots, and then going into Deso was really strong, but I always felt like I wasn't getting enough regen with that start. Now with the MP5 from Restored Artifacts, maybe that's not the case, and this start feels a lot better. I haven't tested it yet, but it certainly could be good.
A lot of attention from Pikarinoobs towards this left-hand side of the map here. I think it's because the gank on Totti did force his beads a little bit earlier on, and Pikarinoobs are trying to make a play around it. However, JustF6 are here in force as well. You can already see CaptainOti has made this rotation on the Vamana. The problem being, though, he's going to lose a whole wave to the tower for this rotation, as the fact that AppointedGnome had already proxied the wave, but now Gnome could be pinched here from that middle area. Whole team of JustF6 in mid. However, he's at Odin at level 15. He'll be able to hold his own for a little bit and allow his team to get in position if required.
It certainly has that potential. With the blink as well, it's pretty easy for him to find those initiations. I wonder how Gnome's going to play it. Is he going to lead with Blink Cage, or is he blinking and channeling the 3, trying to set up, make someone use their escape, and then cage after them?
Gold Fury at half health, forced to reset as Gnome gets aggressed on for a second. Pikarinoobs really look to fight here more than anything else, as Rapio in mid will use the Sonic Boom.
Ooh.
Sotos has his ult. Does he really go into this is the question, though. His health bar is relatively low, and the call is going to be to fall back. Rest of the fight still going on, though, as I'm a Monster was consumed by Doku, and that root cripple combo was really good there as well to deal some damage. But a blink in from Mizzega, and it's poor Doku under pressure. He beats away, but he will just about escape the ultimate. Meanwhile, CaptainOti, a different story. No ultimate available to speak of as he falls down. Doku now with both relics on cooldown. He falls down to Gnome, and the Odin and Jing 10 combo has come to town.
But Sotos is back and at least half HP, still has his Aegis available, but with no ultimate, it's going to be difficult for him to get involved here. Nice ult by Pikarino, using that extra little range the vines will provide. And again, Mizzega really patient with his initiation. Love the way he's playing.
Gnome on zone duty. Sotos trying to get to the buff. Jumps over the wall with a hammer and catches Davey. Meanwhile, though, Pikarino still alive on the backside. Rapio forced to clean up by Sotos and that Thor and gets the double kill on Totti. Jumping from Gnome 2 towards Rottwen. He's the last man standing here for the team of JustF6. But the damage has kind of been done here. Pikarinoobs, they can't do the golf here anymore.
No, that's a great individual play by Sotos. He's played Thor a lot so far today, and we've seen it, and it's been impressive. Another freehand hammer that finds Davey. And listen, man, you know I'm not one to give backline players excuses when they misuse their relics. I'm usually very critical of that. I don't think you can fault Davey for not using Aegis. That was a hammer that was right on the very edge.
Blindsided
and it was over the wall,
Yeah.
Can't see it coming, and that double tap damage happens basically instantaneously whenever you're right on the edge of it. I think you just got to give credit to Sotos more than blame Davey in that spot.
So with this, Pikarinoobs still in a comfortable position now, up about 4,000 gold, even though they've not had a chance to get out of that gold feud. The experience, though, an even bigger story then, approaching 8,000 at this point in time. And I'm looking at where those experience leads really are, and it's mid and jungle for the most part.
Especially jungle.
Sorry, solo and jungle, I should say.
Yeah, both sides. I mean, mid also has a slight lead, but jungle in particular, 3 levels for Rapio. He's top net worth, which is not what you want to say about any Mercury that you're up against,
Ever.
because you really don't want to let him get 4th item Deathbringer
Yes,
less
please.
than 18 minutes into the game. Yikes. That is scary. And Rapio's playing it really, really well. I think the Pikarinoobs, I mean, the last set that we have, Poppy's Freshly Forged, that's clearly a higher tier than what we saw in set number 1. Pikarinoobs look very close to that tier to me.
Pikarinoobs start up the Gold Fury, Frenzy pops, and immediately Totti forced to get away from Rapio. Great zone work from Rapio there, as Gnome was also doing the same thing in mid lane. And that's JustF6, kind of caught with the pants down, not in a position to want to contest it again.
And look at this, staying as 5, right on over to this right-hand side. Let's pull Pyro, or if really nobody's around, we can even consider fire.
Possible, actually. At first, I'm like, it's a little bit risky, but maybe it might be now. You've already given the warning sign of, hey, we're at the Pyro.
Yep, I
Going
don't
for
like
the
that.
fire straight after. This could be tricky. Keep it on mid lane. Thor and Scylla on the way. And Otti doing a good job of zoning away. Pikarinoobs forced to fall back. I expect they know Thor will be around. Mizzega's the one under pressure right now. Sotos again thinks better of it. So often I see Thor's second guess, and it's nice to see for a change.
Good decision making there from Sotos. You definitely do not want to dunk into that team, but
this fight
Rapio?
could be a bit more awkward now. Sonic Boom's available. We'll be looking for Doku or Sotos if he can. But with all 5 members of JustF6 over towards this middle area, And AppointedGnome on that left-hand side, making sure the tier 2 doesn't get pressured down there. He won't look to pull the trigger just yet.
Teams, going back to this, let's finish Pyro and then pull Fire.
But I don't like it either.
I don't like it, but there is a reason for it. It's because you want to, let's say we just pull Fire, we don't do Pyro, but we don't know for sure that they have no wards on our way over here, and they show up and we got nothing for being grouped as 5. Pyromancer guarantees that at least we get something, no matter what the outcome of this engagement. And let's say that we are doing Pyro as the entirety of JustF6 just backed. They hear you get Pyromancer and they go, boy, I hope they don't pull Fire because there's nothing we can do about it anyways. In the best case scenario, you get both. In the worst case scenario, at least you're getting one. I still think that there's a way to assess the situation.
I understand the reasoning, yeah.
We can get Fire here without them realizing it. But that's a much harder line to find.
There was also one other thing involved in that, to be fair. And on the left-hand side, JustF6 had 3 members grouped on that tier 1 tower.
Yes.
If they don't go for the FG there or bait out the FG, that could become a tier 2 relatively quickly on that left-hand side. So,
sure.
In a sense, it's not too bad to try and draw their attention away from that tier 2 tower.
And secure is difficult when you've got a crit Mercury on your team. It messes with your numbers pretty quickly.
That's true.
And even though,
Mess with those numbers. Davey gets a kill. SCC in the sky. Davy's in a bit of an awkward position here. Will be forced to beat. He's going to take the battle. Most of his cooldowns are down, and I'm a Monster will not secure the kill. Aegis was well timed. Bird Bomb kicks on Rottwen, and he's trapped in the ring still, so Doku gets credit for the kill still. Rottwen will fall down soon after to Mizzega or Pikarino, and CaptainOti's going to beat down with Doku finding that big old root. That should shut up RT enough to find the kill as he sneezes to find it.
No way that the backliner ever gets away from that one. Nice return, though, by JustF6. A little bit too aggressive by Davey. His decision to beads and then stand and fight is okay, but you can't be walking the way towards the Scylla. The Scylla, as soon as she knows your relics are down, you're food.
It was good Aegis, though.
It was a good Aegis, but you can't have Aegis for the crush that's coming soon after that.
And that's one of those things about this new left-hand side of the map, the Gold Fury side, these choke points around the enemy red buff, so dangerous.
True.
That I think a lot of teams are falling into a bit of a trap there of realizing just how scary it can be to walk through those angles.
It's a good point. I think last year, or any map before this, Davey beads and then walks down the mid-harpy
And no problem.
angle and doesn't have to worry too much about that crush. Now, it's a different conversation.
I am definitely interested about where those little baby harpies are now, that there's a couple of gods that can now leap over that wall with some of the changes. I just want to see how many can really make use of that. Jing, for example, can now get over that wall with his 3. So just seeing some of those gods that could potentially abuse that situation. We could see some interesting ganks eventually.
Xing pretty good right now. Not only the ability to get over the wall, but one of the hardest guardians in the entire game to kill between his natural protections, his good mobility, his insane HP 5. It's not quite worth it to just build anti-heal against Xing all the time just to stop that HP 5, but I'll be honest, I'm tempted at times.
I do love the idea that we see out of Pikarinoobs, though, with Rapio going for crit, Davies going for instead penetration and chins, just to make sure it's not all doubling down on crit. Well, we could see more of those spectral armors, which I'd like to touch on sooner rather than later, but Davey baits himself out and ends up dying for it. Rapio just too late on pulling the trigger. SCC was over here too, just to reinforce, and that was a case of Davey really allowing Mercury to be in a position more than anything else.
Yeah, Rapio's telling him, don't worry, I'll be there.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll be there. And then he shows up a little bit too late. I mean, neither Hunter had relics, so that should really be Pikarinoobs understanding that, yeah, we got this great idea. Let's gank the ADC with no relics. Just that JustF6 was a little bit quicker on the trigger of doing the exact same thing.
Mizzega in mid on the rotation. Won't be able to do much on his own, though. Pikarino was further behind him, looking to contest those oracles. You can see Primal Fury's just about spawning now, and is Primal Fury even worth it anymore? I don't even know if I like this overall.
No, it's good because,
Really?
yeah, in close games like this can be the difference between burning an FG before you even get there. Maybe you have only 1 or 2 people left and the other team's on fire.
I'd rather have an Oni every time, though. That's my thought process, you know? I'd rather have the Oni. Give him every Primal, I'll take every Oni. I think I'd be happy with that.
I don't know. Oni's strong, but there are a lot of situations where it's no problem for the team to spread out and just clear the waves. Primal makes a difference on Fire Giant.
Dance of the Fury begins, and Mizzega going to take a bit of damage on the front line, but he's got some good regen with Jing too, so he should be able to just regen back up by landing some abilities. Gnome is really holding that angle around that Gold Fury pit, that Gold Fury pit there, just into JustF6 side of the map. very, very well, just locking people down, making sure if you're going to rotate through here, I'm going to cause you problems.
But look at the ward coverage for JustF6. I mean, they've got wards
That's true.
everywhere.
And they're all sentries too.
They're all sentries.
Yeah.
I mean, on this top side, they know that Pikarinoobs have no vision. Underneath the Gold Fury, that's all warded by JustF6. Not easy for Pikarinoobs to find an angle in.
You can keep seeing JustF6 trying to check to see how many members of Pikarinoobs are around. This is buying time for Pikarinoobs to slowly just push up into that half of the map. Look for an angle, look for an opportunity. And see if they can find one. It's going to be on Totti, first of all, from Gnome, who does connect the stun and forces out Totti to use the ult defensively. I'm a Monster forced by Mizzega, and the I'm a Monster only connects onto his own teammate. Rottwen's going to go in, though, force Davy back Sotos to the sky, and the focus is really on Davy, out of range of the jump in from poor old Sotos, who will at least find the wall onto Pikarino. And with CaptainOti using his ult too, that's a lot of ultimates used by JustF6 here.
That's all 5 ultimates used by JustF6, and they don't find a whole lot for it. Rapio still has his.
And he will try and connect just off the mark to hit Rottwen there, and the carry's out of the way, but Gnome at full health still charging in. And you can actually see Rottwen and Sotos both blinked there, or so hammer toss I should say, away from the danger, and that's enough for Pikarinoobs to find themselves a second Fury of the game and their first Primal Fury.
Pikarinoobs just look very controlled in these team fights. I think in the couple of the earlier sets, we saw a lot of team fights that were a little bit out of control.
Yeah.
It's just hitting whoever we can hit, no matter where we can hit them or with what we can hit them with. Pikarinoobs, in as a team, out as a team. Get relics and ultimates, back up, make sure that our backline is okay, then we go in again. That was well played by them. That was an earned Fury.
And you can kind of see that. We were 25 minutes in, and the damage numbers are about 10k for player damage on most gods. The Hunters haven't really been involved yet. This is on positioning. Battles of will as the Pyro and the contest. JustF6 will get hold of it. Iron Monster connects with Mizzega. Chase on from Rottwen, but he won't be able to find it. Sotos to the sky, though. Will he go for Mizzega and pick up the kill? The answer is yes, and he will find just that. Pikarino, who find that grasp of death at the wall. That didn't work out well for them, but can they continue the fight? It looks like that's the case. It's Totti under pressure. Rapio and Davy into the mix, and Davy gets killed onto Totti. Still Doku under pressure as well by Davy, but Oti doing a good job zoning. But the two of them have just overextended too far, and it's only Vamana that will live for now. Sonic Boom connects. Stun available soon. Won't be needed. Pikarino will find it.
Man, Rapio this is the best time we play in Mercury, man. You're 5.5 items deep, plenty of crit. He just put down Doku from a distance from a 3rd HP. That time a little bit too early for the front line for Pikarinoobs. I mean, Mizzega and Gnome go in on a Pyromancer a little bit too early. The rest of the team isn't close enough. Mizzega eats enough cooldowns to where Pikarinoobs are able to get in there and make them pay pretty quickly. And another fight where Gnome, you feel like, has no chance surviving. Ends up getting out again. 1-0 and 10 for him now on this Odin.
You can see good old Doug on the camera showing off that Magi's cloak that we've got Rapio picking up here. Because when you actually do look at the composition they've got there, JustF6, a little bit awkward in terms of CC. Sure, they've got CC, but it's going to force something just to burn that out in the first place.
Not good low commit CC
Yeah.
is the big thing where Magi's looks really strong. The one low commit CC that Rapio has to worry about is that Thor wall. As long as he stays clear of that, all the other CC that JustF6 throw it at him would be a heavy commit. Even Scylla root is a big deal to lose in a team fight. That's going to be hard to hit him with, especially if he's running you down. You can root him, but he's still going to be on top of you. Normally, Scylla's self-peel by rooting and then slowing with Crush. Rapio can immune the root with the Magi's and then pop the 2 to get rid of the slow from the Crush.
And the danger of that, the Sonic Boom connects, right? And by the time you try and react with 1 CC, it's going to take 2.
Yep.
He's still punching you in the face.
Oh, he's going to kill you in that amount of time, no doubt about it. I mean, no spectral armor for anybody quite yet on JustF6. No, not a lot of pen, and by a lot of, I mean any at all for Rapio, but it's one character in Mercury that you just don't hit tanks that often, so it's not that big of a deal. He'll probably sell his boots for a Titan's Bane and be smooth sailing.
Well, with how it stands now, Pikarinoobs really stepping it up a little bit here. They're in a comfortable position so far. JustF6 are not out of it in the world of Smite at this moment in time, but it's a big best of 3 for both of them. How the groups have gone so far. This battle around the FG, though, continues. Oti just trying to frontline to the best of his ability. Has got that Hasten Kantata online. Is that still really needed on Vamana these days, you feel?
I don't know. I mean,
I'm not so sure about it myself.
You got the big movement speed buff now, kind of the midi Atalanta is built into the Vamana ult at this point. I always felt like I needed Hasten Katana, but I watched the best Vamana players in the world. You watch a guy like Baskin, a lot of times he doesn't end up going for it, and I think, how does he stick on people? And then he does really effectively. Vamana's not a character I vibe with, I don't know.
Mizzega a little bit far forward there, but jukes out the flop and keeps the pressure on. All the while, Otti forced to use his ult on this right-hand side to deal with Gnome. And Gnome has to reset as well. I think he'd be happy with that result. One of those cooldowns is definitely shorter than the other.
Blink in from Mizzega. This initiation not as good as most of his.
Nice try though, but now he leaves some damage for that, and that could be a trip back to base sooner rather than later. But at the same time, Pikarinoobs still control around this fire giant. Remember, there's a Persephone on this team. You can see those plants are just being pulled all around this fire giant. The farm is being set, the trap is there, and the worst thing is JustF6 can see it. They just can't do anything about it.
Not interacting with those, they're just interacting with you, and that's why Pikarino is kind of trying to bait JustF6 into his area. That's where they want to fight.
Mizzega, a little bit out of position, will end up dying for that. He was setting up a trap again, but Rapio uses Sonic Boom and misses. He will look at Rottwen though, who loses most of his health. Salter's in the sky, looks for Pikarino at the back and does good damage. But Pikarino already took down Rottwen with that fight so far. Gnome on the other side has got a hold of Totti and doing good work there. But the backline of Pikarinoobs is staggered, and Otti smells blood in the water. He'll take down one. On the back of the fight though, you can still see Totti has managed to survive, and it's Gnome left on his own now. He is Odin though. Will be able to get away as Rapio comes over to support. JustF6 win that 2-for-1.
Mizzega has played really well so far, but maybe was feeling it a little bit too much.
I feel like a Rapio bait again.
Ethereal Staff, though, is the item, and if you're trying to, if your whole job is to stand there and bait cooldowns, build tanky so you can actually do that.
I'm more of a fan of actually going gem over the Ethereal, in my personal opinion, just because it's going to give you some health, but it's also going to apply slow, consistent.
Yeah, but you don't need it.
No, you're right.
You don't need it. If that's a mantle in that spot, if that's a spirit robe.
There's some crit. Spectral wouldn't go amiss.
Sure. Spectral looks good. I mean, you're chilling if that's a true defense item, and I think that fight goes much, much better for Pikarinoobs.
30 minutes in then, and Pikarinoobs had an opportunity around this FG, I feel, but JustF6 found a window and capitalized. You can still see all these plants around that just weren't used there by Pikarino. They weren't in the right position to really do so. So JustF6 are able to come back out of base, get their respawns through, and set up one more time. Sentry wards all even so far in terms of inventory.
Certainly both teams should be able to get some good ward vision around this fire giant, but Gnome's caught out a little bit. Doesn't take too much damage, though.
I don't think we can ever say that Odin's been caught out at this stage,
I suppose
right?
that's true. So much CD. He's max CDR. He's actually overcapped on CDR, but not a big deal. You want all those items, regardless of if they had CDR or not.
This is the combo they're looking for. They can just chip away at Mizzega. It kind of reduces some of the engage potential Pikarinoobs have. We saw it in the last fight too. And so Mizzega's just got to really pick his windows wisely. He's definitely the aggressor. He's going for those blinks time and time again. But if he keeps eating those crush combos, he's not going to have a lot of fun.
Looks like he doesn't have a whole lot of HP in the build. I mean, E-Staff does have some, but Hide of the Urchin, mostly protections, does have 250 health. Pridwin, all protections.
And meanwhile, also Thebes does a little bit of health on that too. Back of the fight, Gnome goes in on Doku, but loses half his health. Sotos to the sky again, as Poro Pikarino is left 1v1 against the Vamana. It ain't a lot of fun to deal with that, especially with Thorns up too. But can Otti get away again? No is the answer. Mizzega gonna pull him back under the tier 2 tower. Otti's still alive and will escape. Can't same be said for the rest of the Pikarinoobs who are trying to kill him as the whole team of JustF6 turn up. AppointedGnome and Rapio watch on.
Where's the frenzy usage by Mizzega there, Hindu man? I mean, he's got it.
Yeah.
Doesn't end up using it. And
Would it have been enough though? Oh, it would have killed Otti, I guess.
I think it would have, but we were talking about Cursed Ankh. This Vamana's a problem. No way. Vamana is an unpeelable god. There are certain gods in Smite that you just can't peel. Yorm is one of them. Yep. Nothing you can do about Yorm. There's nothing you can do about Vamana.
And if you're not going to have Cursed Ankh, which I'm still okay with because people haven't really realized it, there's only one anti-heal item I can see there, right?
Yeah, only Divine Ruin.
Only Divine Ruin, and you've got all
now
these
a
other
Toxic
characters.
Blade for
Finally,
Davey.
there we go.
But the Vamana of the unpeelables, Vamana is the most peelable by just killing him. It's the only way to get rid of him when he's in that ultimate, basically. And Cursed Ankh just guarantees that you do that.
Especially with like the changes to Vamana in terms of, he used to be blocked by walls, right?
Yep.
No longer a thing. Walls don't prevent him anymore. He doesn't get trapped in Odin Cage, which was once upon a time a great pick into a Vamana. So you have to end up killing him or just running away. And in Smite, you can't just keep running.
No, because he's faster than you. He's got more base movement speed than you. He's got a giant cone auto attack.
Is he still second fastest in the game? He is, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got 380 movement speed. it's insane.
Yeah.
You can't get away from this character. You need to be able to kill him. You need to be able to turn and burn him. And without Cursed Ankh, that's very difficult to do. I don't know if this Toxic Blade is enough to change it, but this means Pikarino and Davy have to stand close enough that they're not going to get double Thor dunked, but that they can peel for each other with damage when Odie's in the backline.
Well, that was an enhanced Fire Giant as well for JustF6, and now they're going to barrel down. They've got the gold lead for the first time in a while in this one. I'm going to say a while, the whole game realistically. However, it looks like Pikarinoobs do want to try and potentially put up a defense on this left-hand side. Tier 2 towers will crumble relatively quickly against this whole team of JustF6. But JustF6 being methodical here. They're not going for a Phoenix just yet. I mean, old relics are, I guess they're waiting for Sotos' beads is all I can really see here. Want to get the towers down first, is that it?
Could be. They also know they've got Oni Wave or Oni Fury in a minute.
True.
So maybe they're trying to wait for that and just get ready to play around that Oni Wave.
I think you've got time for a Phoenix push into a, fall back to Fury, if it's not working out well.
That's true. But if you lose 1 or 2 members, then you can't really pull Oni, and then that means Pikarinoobs get Oni. And
good point.
is that really what you want, is to give up an Oni Wave to a team that is still very, very potent at this stage of the game?
I was going to say, JustF6, a relatively new team. I've been around a long time, and I don't really recognize most of these names.
Same.
Mainly, Spaniards, and I think they're like the Pappies too is kind of how I'm viewing them, because I know some of the Pappies players have played with 1 or 2 of these before. And so it shows, they've been around a little bit themselves, I'd say, but they're doing the right decisions. I think the one thing you'll see at this level of play is you start to struggle about making a mistake, right? You get in your own head a little bit.
They slow to end.
Oh, not like that. Not without blinking from Rottwen. He goes straight to the back and forces out one of the carries. Sotos in the sky. Where's his target? Davy could be an opportune target here. He's going to go on the front line on Gnome. And Gnome evaporated. Grasp of Death does hit the back line, though. Causes a couple of issues. Phoenix still alive. But all the while, Oti is making sure that Pikarino is not going to play Smite today.
Oh, Rapio's ult was going to be sick, but it got blocked by the wall from Sotos. That would have been a 4-man ult, I think, from Rapio. And it got absolutely crushed by that Tectonic Rift. That, I feel for him, man. That would have been big.
50 seconds left on the fire buff, give or take, and this middle Phoenix is dwindling quickly. This game has turned all around that Fire Giant fights consistently here. The patience out of JustF6 and the lack of confirmed engage with Pikarinoobs really came back to haunt them there.
I mean, I feel like the engage isn't bad for Pikarinoobs. You've got a Blink Xing Chen, you've got a Blink Odin. Those are good engage tools. It's just that as soon as you engage, you've got Vamana in your backline creating a continent worth of space. You want to talk about space created, CaptainOti has tons of it so far.
Would you rather have Davy or Pikarino to be the trap for Oti? Because I think one of them is going to be like, hey, I'm going to be the one that's going to get focused. Should I put myself in the position, or should you? Should that be a call even? It has to be, right?
Pikarino dies, but can still ult the backline of the enemy team, so that makes it more appealing for him.
So do you not charge in this Pikarino then to bring Oti with him? I'm trying to think of a sort of way to deal with a Vamana, right?
The only way is to kill him.
But if they're not going to kill him, there's got to be something else.
There isn't. That's
Surrender?
the only one.
JustF6.
There it is.
There you go. That's why the name's there.
Yeah, because you don't build Ankh against the Vamana, so JustF6.
All right, well, with that, the Oni Fury wave is down, and that's going to be some really empowered waves coming down left and mid for Pikarinoobs to deal with here. And in terms of wave clear, it's not the greatest in the world, if I'm honest, for them to really push this down. Obviously, one real damage inability from Pikarino, unless he wants to use some of those plants. But with the Fire Giant spawning, decisions are for Pikarinoobs to try and climb back into this one. Good news is it's a best of 3. And I tell you what, JustF6 are looking mighty fine game 1.
Yeah, they are, but they didn't for a lot of this game. I thought that Pikarinoobs looked like the better team through the early game, but they've clearly struggled here in the late, and I think a lot of that credit goes to Odin. I'm a little surprised that Pikarinoobs aren't setting the trap and trying to spring a fight around this Fire Giant, because relics are just now coming up for Doku and for Sotos, and everyone had relics on Pikarinoobs. I think that's as good of a fight as you're going to get at this point in the game. Instead of trying to fight with a bunch of fire waves, they did a good job. Look at how far away all those fire waves are, but they'll be here eventually.
Gotta agree with you. I think CaptainOti and this Vamana might be the real critical thing that's caused Pikarinoobs problems. Ban it game 2?
Or play around it better.
Yeah.
It's not an unbeatable pick. It's really not. It just requires attention to detail and focus and dedication from the composition. and I just don't think that Pikarinoobs did a good enough job of that.
Maybe they can get in and take him away from the fight or keep him busy a little bit longer. Rapio in the back line, looking for the Sonic Booms, and it's one of the reasons they're playing so deep too, is because they want the Sonic Booms to come through, but it's just allowing JustF6 to choose their moment. Keep an eye on Rottwen. He's been blinking in early on in these fights a little bit. He did so on that left-hand Phoenix on that Bacchus, and that caused a lot of problems for the backline immediately. Rapio going to have to clear out mid lane with these fire minions pouring down. Left-hand side will be a little bit longer with a minion way to block it. But I think it could be time if they actually go for another wave here. They could just be patient here, JustF6.
Absolutely. No need to rush. What are we rushing for? You can clear out a buff. You can make sure that Rapio loses the Magi's potentially. But wait until that left side wave is bearing down, especially with the Phoenix coming up. That's more pressure.
Love the idea of SCC going towards the middle area, trying to split the difference up. And Oti is on Pikarino again. The Aegis will buy him enough time to get back to the fountain, but the frontline fight, it's Davy's turn. Grasp of Death rips through, but doesn't really find a target it was after. It only really hits onto Rottwen, and Totti gets himself a double kill. Into the fountain room they go. And JustF6, well, Pikarinoobs know now. Deal with Vamana. You're going to go down heavily. Although, this is very patient out of them, surprisingly enough. Normally we see teams barrel on in at that point.
Yeah, that's one word for it. Patient is certainly one of them. Rapio's going to get forced back, but this should be game one in JustF6's favor.
Dropping from Rottwen, only at half health. He'll get Titan aggro, will fall down to it. Oh no, cancel that. Shell was up. And still, they're taking a long time because they're even not after kills here. Tony gets a kill. Keep an eye on Rapio, who gets hold of Rottwen. This is a mistake. Pikarino gets one. Finally, we're going to... No, this isn't going to end, is it?
Oh, no. Pikarino.
Oh, no. This is messy as I've ever seen.
Okay,
All dead, though. 2 members left. Or is it? Oh, my. That's a really good passive. Imagine killing people when you're dead.
Yeah, it seems okay, but not good enough to defeat JustF6 and the Vamana. Clean 19 kills on each side, but again, I just think that the Pikarinoobs had that game exactly where they wanted it. They were in a perfect position to win this game and ultimately just didn't play around these late game team fights well enough. I think that a lot of credit deserves to go to JustF6. I think Odin played it very, very well, and they used that space that he created very well, but ultimately, I feel like Pikarinoobs dropped the ball here.
Gotta agree with you. I think JustF6 did what they needed to do, but I do think Pikarinoobs dropped the ball in a couple of areas there. Rough situation then for Pikarinoobs, but it is a best of 3 in this group stage. Let's get it over to the consortium to see what they have to say.
Nice. Say, consortium of knowledge, Hindu man. Dig deep and you say it. There's going to be knowledge happening here on this desk as we move into the post-game from game number 1. And you heard them talk about it at length, ad nauseum during the game. You got to find some kind of answer for this Vamana, or it's going to be hard to win games. It's still Finch here. I'm still joined by Gore Miser. And Gore, do you agree with them?
Just so you know, this is where the knowledge part disappears.
No way. There's knowledge from both of us, man. Come on, Gore Miser. Let's give them all the knowledge they could possibly want. Do you agree with that assessment of them during the game, though, that it was the handling of this Vamana that was too weak?
Yeah, it didn't. I mean, Odin, there was a certain point where he just got to the back line and decided Pikarino specifically wasn't going to play the game anymore, and they never handled it very well for him. He just stuck to him like glue. He did exactly what you expect out of a Vamana, but it's also a lot of what Aggro had mentioned as well, where it's kind of a mishandling of the situation, not just in the Vamana, but I think as a whole. They had a pretty distinct lead for Pikarinoobs. They were doing really well throughout a lot of these fights. And then Odin starts getting into the back line, stops Pikarino as well as a couple others, maybe distracting them. And then Totti all of a sudden is like, oh yeah, Hunter, by the way.
Yeah. Pikarino had a really good view of that last fight from the fountain because that's where he spent 80% of his time during it, because Adi just sat on him, man, and pushed him all the way back. And there was no form of peel. I don't know what the peel is that can exist to get you away from the Vamana. It's kind of what Aggro was talking about, right? In those situations, your team kind of has to turn and burn, or this is just going to keep happening. It'll just follow you, stick to you, and take you out of the fight right away. And this is what a Vamana unchecked can do.
And if you've been watching the timer, this all started at 30 minutes. So that was essentially 30 minutes of mostly control from Pikarinoobs. And then Vamana was like, oh, no, you don't play for the last 10 minutes of this game, right? We're just going to cut you off from this point on. A lot of it is getting back to him, and again, fumbling around it for Pikarinoobs. I look at either banning it or figuring out a better draft around it. We've seen people handle it. You just have to go really hard into the anti-heal, and you have to turn and burn. Aggro said it best, and I always feel like a fool when I say this, but sometimes the best way to counter him, and admittedly the most efficient way, is to just kill him, which makes sense on paper, and it works out in actuality.
And this has to be frustrating for Pikarinoobs too, because I mean, Rapio had a really good game. Pikarino had a really good game. I actually kind of liked the build path that we saw Rapio on with the Aaron die into that double crit build. He had the Titan's Bane and the Blood Force to facilitate that as well. If he could have gotten some room to operate, I think he would have been able to seal that game up. But unfortunately, it was just F6 that came away on top in game number 1. So into game number 2 we go, and Pikarinoobs going to keep doing things that make a lot of sense to me here, banning away that Morgan, and then JustF6 is going to do the same thing they did in game 1, ban away the Kukulkan.
And honestly, everything will probably remain par for the course in the bans. A lot of it, like the Vamana got out of hand, so maybe Pikarinoobs either look to pick it away or, again, draft just better against it, play maybe a little smarter against it. But they don't have to ban it. If they do, they want to ban it maybe in the second phase. I don't know. It was picked number 6 for JustF6 last time, so it is something that they're valuing before those second phases of bans come through. And
there you go.
Well, they answer the question here.
Yeah, we're going to have to see Odin get it done with something else, as the Vamana has been banned away. The Persephone gets taken away towards the tail end there from JustF6. So still some value going to be coming through, and this time it will be the Yemoja. And Gore, I know that you're happy to see her getting picked up. I mean, and we saw, I think, a little bit of a struggle with it earlier. Switch didn't quite have the game we want on the Yemoja earlier, but certainly still a really valuable
I think realistically what Switch showed is that she's not a guaranteed win, which is perfect, right? Like when you have someone, any of those bottom 6 bans that come through in most games, if you see them a lot, like Morgan, it's a little bit like questionable. Like, okay, she definitely makes the game harder for you.
A lot harder.
Yemoja made the game difficult, but it showcased that she is susceptible to losses, one thing, and 2, positioning. Like, there's a lot that can go wrong with her. I like the way it was played in a couple of the games. I think she got picked a second game earlier where her Omi management was a lot better, her positioning was a lot better. Things like that will make a big difference, and I think Pikarinoobs know that.
It looks like if you are too far out of position with the Yemoja, you can absolutely get blown up. JustF6 picking this Bacchus. It continues to get picked here in Europe today. They are
because I'm wearing the purple.
Maybe so, yeah.
That's the only thing I can think.
Yeah, and match with Gormizer. It's looking good, by the way, over there, bud. Heimdallr coming in for Pikarinoobs as well, and we've seen Heimdallr played here throughout the day, but not always maybe quite living up to some of the value that we've seen from him.
It's that question mark of where you want to send him. Do you want to put him in mid? Do you want to put him as the hunter? Is he going to pay off? And, you know, my mind goes to Joshi. We were kind of like looking at it like, yes, this can be a big deal. And then realistically, he was one of the ones that, for Freshly Forged, it was okay to lose him just because he wasn't really contributing too much. You get good vision out of him. He's got really good damage if you can get to the point where he's like winning those fights, but early on his attack speed just feels so slow that his kill potential might not be there as early. A lot of people like him in mid lane just because it can get into that fight a little bit faster.
Yeah, it was good damage from Joshi in that game. I just don't know how relevant all of that damage was. If he's doing 10% to everyone instead of 70 to one guy, you know, that's a lot less valuable. Where does it end up? And I saw someone in chat earlier, I wish I could remember who it was, saying they really wanted this Raijin to get played today. So there you go, our Raijin has been picked up by JustF6, has a great deal of utility on that Taiko Drums ultimate. It feels like he can, once he gets online too, he can really clear the wave and just keep right on moving.
And honestly, his passive works, it's essentially just a small Chronos pendant. Whenever he uses 4 abilities, so maybe not as much on a timer, gets 2 seconds off everything, which is nice to just kind of keep him rolling in the game. I remember, this is a really weird thing to remember, but someone at one point equated it to Chalk's passive as well, and I was like, give or take it, like Chalk's passes is a little better, especially if you want to put it on a mage, but I think for Raijin it's going to be solid here. I'm interested to see how he does.
JustF6 managed to squeeze out a win in game number 1, but what about game number 2? Let's get it down to Hinduman to find out.
All right, the knowledge was pretty good there. Not gonna lie, it wasn't too bad on the consortium of knowledge, if that's what we call it.
There it is.
Why,
nice work.
Why are we calling it that? Where did that come from?
That's a Nick Pretty Hair Keo original right there.
Okay.
So you know it's genius if he came up with it.
All right, I'll give it a benefit of the doubt. I was gonna be kind of impressed that any of you could say those long words together.
No.
I was like, wait,
absolutely not.
I don't normally work with that sort of person. What?
No, sir. Definitely not the option.
Confused.com.
Can I say, by the way, how glad I am to see Raijin in the game? Now, this is a mage, Hinduman. This is a mage.
This, right?
Yes. Yes. Why are we seeing so much Scylla and Vulcan and Discordia?
What's wrong with them?
They're bad. They don't do it.
Bad?
They don't do enough damage, Hinduman. They don't do enough damage. Raijin is a god that does enough damage. Got a buff recently. His one does more damage now. I think that he's a god that doesn't. He lost a lot by losing Spear. This was a good Spear god. but he's one that does enough damage anyways that it's still good enough. You can do it from a distance. Psycho Drums is still an insane ultimate. I like Thoth as well. I'm just glad we've finally seen some Raijin.
Lovely little flop there from Rottwen again, who really loves his Bacchus play. Now, obviously, when we look at the picks and bans from this game, Ryan, once again, I've got to say, Pikarinoobs' draft is great. Like, I think they've done a really good job of getting the picks they want for the most part. They recognize Vamana was an issue. They've made some adjustments. And, again, I feel confident in their draft. But can they execute it this game?
Yeah, I think that they can. I mean, this draft, even though I like the Raijin on the other side, it can be vulnerable against a god like Thoth, who could force your dash very easily and then ult you when you're in Taiko Drums. Pikarinoobs have Yemoja, which is always a pretty big deal.
I'd say with River's Rebuke as well. I mean, when you see that Raijin jump into the ultimate, drop the River's Rebuke, there's no chance he can escape it.
No, and it's hard for him to see through it, to see exactly who he wants to be hitting all the time. I think that's a big thing, is that ultimate messes with your information very, very easily. It's really hard to see through it, so I think that Pikarinoobs have a very good draft. Rapio had a great early game on the Mercury, fell off a bit towards late. It's usually the other way around, but I think that JustF6 just had better team fights and didn't leave themselves as vulnerable.
I don't think that's just Rapio then. I think it was the first 20 minutes, Pikarinoobs really were methodical. They had full control of this game.
Yep. I think they maybe I don't know if it was emotionally they got a little bit, overwhelmed or something like that, and they just stopped making as clean of comms or as clean of calls. Definitely can, absolutely. But I know that if they can execute as well as they did the first 20 minutes of game one and keep that consistency, they're going to be just fine.
Especially if you got moonwalking Thor hammers like that, that's for sure.
That's
Rapio
skill right there.
Picking up that blue buff, giving it over towards Gnome now, and we'll just see what happens at the beginning of this one. Because as you said, I completely agree. I think this is definitely an advantage for Pikarinoobs, but worst time to have issues is these group qualifiers for any sort of situation.
Most important games of the year for you so far.
Well, just to get yourself into the SCC in the first place, that's what these two teams are playing for. And with some of the bracket going the way it did so far, as Oti solos down Gnome. Hello, Sailor.
All right, well, that's not a great start for how we want to contain that solo lane.
This Oti kid's getting a name for himself, I'll tell you that.
He's played well so far today. He did have a Camazotz game that wasn't very good, and that's not a great sign.
Okay.
If you're not carrying on Camazotz,
hey,
bro,
but if you can bounce back,
that's
right?
mental. That's right. That's
and King Arthur, who people not necessarily sleeping on, but he's starting to fall a little bit more out of favor these days, right?
Yeah, I mean, Glad Shield getting a huge nerf is massive for King Arthur. King Arthur gets hurt the worst by a big Glad Shield nerf, and it's specifically basically a nerf against King Arthur because it's that subsequent heals after the first from a single ability, only heal for half of the original amount. That basically reads King Arthur just got half as good. Yeah, that's basically what it is.
And that's one of the things that Arthur was really potent for, was staying alive in team fights forever, because he was getting so much healing. But look at this, after the death of Gnome, the rotation comes in. Rapio and Mizzega on the way here, looking for the dunk, and will find it onto him. Wall double tap, beautiful, and the Rebuke is there too. And the water rolls down, but look at the health bar of Gnome. The Fear No Evil, though, from Sotos was not very clean at all, but it's enough to keep Oti alive. And now it's Gnome that's going to fall down instead. That was 3-on-1, and it ends up being a kill for Pikarinoobs. There's JustF6 rotate again.
And again, that is the worst version of King Arthur, by the way, because he would have been healing even more than that had it been the old iteration of Glad Shield.
So the nerfs are good, but clearly they're not good enough.
Well, not to completely remove him from the game, but that's not what we're looking for, right? I mean, King Arthur's, I think he's cool. I like him. Nerfing him is probably a good idea, but he's in a pretty good spot now by my estimation. Give him the solo kill, he backs, gets Glad Shield. Gnome takes too much damage to set up the gank. Yeah, that's an art form, man. I mean, setting up ganks is not a brainless activity. You have to really calculate, okay, how much damage do I have to take before Odin feels like he can kill me, so he wants to commit, but not so much that he smells out the gank coming. Gnome just rode that line a little bit too hard to where he just got too low.
Where he shoots at JustF6, though, that rotation, the counter rotation to answer that gank was quick. It was relatively fast in terms of getting there, but they do both have Blink, and that's one thing I'm still a little bit surprised I'm seeing this Blink Bacchus so much, especially at, like, the start of the game. Sometimes you can see him go for it as a second relic.
Sure.
Over the likes of a Shell against this composition, it's definitely something that I'm a little bit suspect about.
Yeah, I mean, Shell's good against Pikarinoobs' composition, but it's not an absolute necessity, I would say. I just like, I mean, you see what Yemoja did on the Bacchus at the World Championship. A lot of starting fights with Intoxicate. and then using my buttons after the fact and taking advantage of that extra damage.
Flop on Mizzega, but a very good use of the Riptide to just reposition. And now with the Rebuke down, is he trapped inside? Just in time with a stun, I would say. Off the back of that came Rapio, but it's Rapio as the focus target. Will get to his hammer, but pulled back in by Doku and killed as well. Mizzega still alive for now as Gnome rotates in and gets a good ring down. And Rottwen will be a casualty of war. 2 for 1, still in favor of JustF6.
Thank goodness if you're a Pikarinoobs fan that Gnome made that rotation, because otherwise it was going to be a bit of a rough one for Pikarinoobs in the mid lane, but a good cage, at least make sure that Rottwen dies. But too much focus on the Bacchus, who we haven't seen that much Bacchus in the last year or so. I know Neil pulled it out a little bit,
Chug,
but
baby.
he is the tankiest character in the game with Chug.
With no points in it.
With no points in it. But the Drunko meter alone is a huge deal for him that gives him damage mitigation at a pretty insane level. So even though he didn't get protections from Chug, he was still drunk, which meant he was taking a lot less damage. He is really, really hard to kill, and just an overinvestment from Pikarinoobs, and a great use of the ultimate by Doku to pull Rapio back in. They know he didn't have purification beads from that right-hand side, understanding that he didn't have to be the one to do all the damage. Bring him in and let SCC kill him with that overhand smash. Nicely done.
You can see JustF6 starting to try and change the pace a little bit. They just grouped around the Gold Fury for a second, checked to see if Pikarinoobs were going to be in the area, but I like the idea of them now getting on the aggressive. They've kind of shut down this Odin for now. That was an issue at the start of last game, and now it's Mizzega in mid, taking more damage than bargained for, and having to use those Riptides defensively instead of heals and potential damage and clear and stuns. It definitely puts you more on the back foot.
Absolutely. It's getting someone's mana pool down is always a strategy to try and get them off the map. It's a little bit different for Yemoja, but it's effective.
Riptide used, that's all of it, and straight into the middle of the Pikarinoobs, but the Rebuke was up, as was the Shell. Rot used to survive there, though, from Mizzega. That Shell as well, although same can be said, because Sotos did use the Pikarinoobs. Another one?
Almost. That
could still go.
Gnome should have jump up soon, but he's just trying to keep Odin under tower for as long as he can. Rapio, I do not think wins this.
Should be a 1-for-1 here in this scenario, unless something crazy happens. I would say that minion wave will come into play. Oti trying to buy time. Early beads, and now Oti going to heal back up again, and Rapio has to walk away all the while, though. Left-hand side, Rottwen did fall. Mizzega still alive. Will die to the tail end of the dot damage out from Doku. But still Rapio dealing with Oti on the right-hand side. Not too bad, I would say, for Pikarinoobs, considering their jungler and solo were dealing with CaptainOti.
And they both lost in that fight. I mean, Gnome gets soloed, Rapio loses beads, nearly ends up dying. This is, I know chat is going to be Omega lolling King Arthur the whole time, but that's just fed solo laner basically no matter what.
And with a 2-level lead now, it's just all about domination. Gnome just needs to focus on clearing the wave and getting out of dodge wherever possible, really. He's done just that, but I think he keeps getting trapped by the fact that Arthur's low on health and mana. It's not really the case. Ring is down, rotation in from Rapio again. They're really not happy about the captain, and the double tap will try and end his life. The wall will not prevent it just yet. Spin to win and heal back up one more time. Step to the back and Rapio dead. Get 2v1. Look at me. I am the captain now, says Oti.
Okay, all right. That is not fed solo laner. That is Arthur exclusive nonsense. No other character does that. He's still good, ladies and gentlemen. Everything's fine in the world.
Man, Mizzega has used his Riptide more than any other ability I feel in this game. Finally, though, could see a kill for SCC, but no, he can't find the monkey toss. Gnome will jump away to safety. And JustF6, they're up in a good position now. Last game, it was 20 minutes of Pikarinoobs. This game, well, it's a 2K lead at 10.
This is not a good look for Pikarinoobs. We were expecting more of the early game dominance that we saw in game number 1.
Are they still in their own head?
I mean, I think that could be part of it. I think that loading into this game, there was probably very little residual tilt from game 1. But when Odin 2v1s you 3 times at this point,
it's time to abandon ship, right? Like, just leave him alone there now. Just let him farm.
Oh, this is where you tell Gnome, sorry, bro,
you're on your own now.
This is your problem now. It is no longer our problem.
And that happens in ranked games too, but people don't realize it happens in pro, right? It also happens in pro.
It's not even worth Rapio's time. It's not even worth his time to go over to that lane, because it'll just happen again.
The confidence will just be zooming on this JustF6 team, knowing that their solo lane is having a whale of a time. They're just going to shore up the line a little bit more on this mid and left-hand side of the map now. At the moment, it's about farming for them. They're a little bit behind in terms of farm for Davy versus Totti, as once again, Mizzega stunned out again. Rapio to the sky, though. Flop is down for Rottwen. The rest of his team are out of range, really, to try and collapse. But these right-hand Harpies are being looked at for a second. And there's another defensive... Most Thor ults I've seen in a single set that haven't just been thrown for aggression.
Yeah, nice and patient so far, and that's a good idea because Rottwen's a level up on Rapio right now, so he's not doing any damage to that guy. No chance.
Some of that is Rapio making rotations to that right-hand side, correct?
Oh, a lot of it is. He spent a lot of time over there. Even before they got 2v1'd, he spent a wave and a half on that side of the map just trying not to die.
Doesn't seem, though, that JustF6 want to give up this right-hand side for any further freeness. They want more. Sotos is over on this right-hand side, too, now, with this Hombatz lurking, but that has created a bit of a choke point around this Gold Fury, where Pikarinoobs have a man advantage. I just don't think they realized it. If they did, they would have looked to commit. Flopping from Rottwen early, looking to flop. Rivers Rebuke forced by Mizzega. He just after the regen more than anything else. And it's Rottwen going to eat a bit of damage on the front line, not too much to speak of. Meanwhile, the Hunter's just continuing to duel away in that duel lane.
But you get Mizzega's ult, which is game-changing a lot of the time for an aggressive flop that you took next to no damage on the back end for. It's a tough position now for Pikarinoobs. You're basically looking for JustF6 to make a mistake and let you get back into this game because this right side is so dominant for CaptainOti. The 3v3 in mid has been solidly in favor of JustF6, and Pikarino's farmed well. He stayed close. Rapio has stayed fairly close to Sotos, and Mizzega is about to level down himself. So it's not completely game over, but in my mind, if I'm on JustF6, I'm feeling like we have to mess up to lose this game.
And we'll see if that can even happen at this point, because everything seems to be working out for them. Rottwen, though, we'll mention that Belch that Bacchus has is anti-heal, so it's pretty effective against Yemoja as well, right? Just to reduce some of that down.
Absolutely, and you've got the Divine Ruin already done for Doku. Raijin, a great mage at spreading that on-hit effect because it refreshes constantly with his dot from his 2, and it's going to bounce to multiple members of the same team, so it's pretty easy to affect 2 to 3 or 4 members of an enemy squad, and that's before he uses his giant ultimate.
And I think that's the danger of Yemoja. The later the game goes, the more sustained she's going to bring. In the early game, generally she's a CC and control bot, but in the later stages, you're looking to just spam those heals and shields consistently and keep your team topped up.
Yeah, for Yemoja players you're playing ranked, somehow someone forgets to ban her, you lock her in. If you're trying to stun lock people in the late game, I'm upset with you. Hit the 2 button.
At least in support, right? Just to be clear.
Yes, in support.
Yeah.
Only play it support, by the way. You just press 2, and then when you have 2 again, press it again. And then again, press it again. This ability is absurd. This will get you thousands of effective HP across your team in a team fight.
Friendly
with
ring
ease.
toss is how I see this.
It's so good.
Yep.
It does healing and shielding. They can't play around the shielding. They can buy anti-heal all they want. There's no anti-shielding.
Well, Pikarinoobs realize they can't out-contest that Gold Fury, so instead they're going to go for the Pyro. Sotos
Smart.
is around the area. And I like Sotos being here just in case a weird Fire Giant attempt goes down or something, which probably wouldn't have happened really without Davy really being in the area. Gold Fury to JustF6, nice further advantage gained.
Agreed. I like the idea from Sotos. He's not needed on that left-hand side. Let's make sure they don't pull fire.
Linking in mid though from Rottwen, looking for more. We'll look for the stun and find it onto Mizzega. We saw Pikarino forced to rotate back to safety and dash away. And this opens up that tier 1 tower in mid. CaptainOti now with that pressure on that solo lane is starting to make his presence known elsewhere.
He's just rotating in. This is how you transition lanes out of solo lane. Just get your 3rd item, group up. That 3rd item power spike is the key one for solo laners. 2 items, everyone else is on an item and a half. You're not that far ahead. Sure, some people have their 3rd item completed, but not very many. And no one's going to be as effective.
I thought that was like Golden Hand or something on the numbers on the left-hand side. No, that's player damage. Yeah, that seems about fair.
Listen, man, if they're going to keep ganking them and letting them heal off their bodies, then yeah, it'll look like that just about every time. By the way, I'm seeing a lot of this build for Hunbatz, this no pen, Transcendence, Erendite sort of build. I do not like it, and it's because Hunbatz is going to kill squishies really, really well, basically at all points of the game. Sometimes he's a little bit short on damage at this point, so this build lets you 1v1 squishies really well.
Right.
But in the early game, so much of what Hunbatz is doing is setting up to kill tanks. You're using Fear No Evil to separate a tank and kill them. And if you have no flat pen at all, it's very hard to do that, and it throws your whole engagement off. Don't be surprised if JustF6 tried all in onto Mizzega or on the Gnome off Fear No Evil. They come just short of killing them, and that loses them to team fight, because we've seen it a lot with this build.
Is crit not as viable anymore on Batz? We used to see that once upon a time.
Yeah, you don't get free crit chance anymore, so now you're just looking for the good luck, basically, on that empowered auto. It can be good, but I think just he does so much damage late game. If you just go Jotuns or Crusher, Transcendence, Hydras, Titans, Heartseeker, you're chilling and you're killing everybody.
I love what I'm seeing out of JustF6 though. 3 members now in left. Davey forced to sit his tier 2. The rest of his team are not in a position to help. You can see Rapio just trying to get farm on the right-hand side where he can, steal it away from the jungle. So another tier 1 taken down, and JustF6 is just methodically going across the map, going, okay, where can we find more of a lead, and developing it in the right areas.
Very smart, but credit to Pikarinoobs, they're staying close in XP. The gold lead is growing pretty substantially, 4,000. But you would think, I mean, normally you see gold leads at for something like 4,000, XP 5,500 to 6,000. Yeah. It's usually more of an XP lead than a gold lead. That is not the case here, and that's credit to Pikarinoobs being smart with their farm. You mentioned Rapio going over to that right-hand side, stealing away what he can, just making sure that he's getting something so he can try and stay relevant for if and when JustF6 make a mistake.
It's a good point. I think where the experience difference really falls at the moment is on Mizzega, which you kind of expect a support to be the one to give up their farm for the good of the team, and it's kind of showing here as everybody else is almost caught up, starting to catch up their opponents. Still, Gnome is around 2 levels down, give or take. It's about 1.5, honestly, with those differences there. Once he gets that wave, it should be a little bit closer. But yeah, 7-2. And now the question is, what does JustF6 do now? Because like you said, Pikarinoobs are just trying to farm this one out. If the team's farming it out, you want to try and get aggressive quick to stop that.
Yeah, group up as 5 again. As soon as his Fury's up, you got about 1:20. Try and finish off some power spike items. You got Executioner done for Totti. That's pretty important. Maybe if we can finish Soul Reaver for Doku, that would be a huge power spike that JustF6 could really leverage.
Tell you what, I don't think they realized how alone Gnome was on this right-hand side there, and that's that they do now. It's just a little bit too late. He's back at the tier 2 tower, but so is a minion wave, and the whole army of JustF6 is with him. Davey and Rappi on the left-hand side. They may get a tier 2 there, but they'll lose a tier 2 near the FG. And not much Pikarino's can do about this with only 2 members in the act.
Uh-oh, King Arthur actually teleported to that left-hand side. He gets sent on a trip to Niflheim, but ends up coming back in. Still a tier 2 for tier 2.
Baby.
This is scary to me.
Well, especially without CaptainOti being here, who's been the lead team leader so far. And this is Pikarinoobs in the area. Keep an eye on Pikarino specifically. Thoth is great at secures from distance. Doku's in a bit of an awkward spot here. Gets hit by the River's Rebuke too as Rapio wrapped on the back. Good block from Rottwen. And the Intoxicate too to try and zone away. But Rapio in the sky. May look towards Doku. Held it long enough. Ultimate used by Doku. And it was onto Sotos. This is when Rapio went. All the while, Oti now in the fight is just shredding the backline. And Rapio will at least get credit for 1 kill onto Sotos. Rottwen will re-secure onto Rapio, and Gnome gets lower. JustF6 lost health bars. Pikarinoobs lost lives.
That's pretty good still for Pikarinoobs considering where they were in this game. That fight a little bit split up. I like the idea. They know Odie's on the left-hand side. Let's try and get over and get this fight going before he can show up, but just a little bit short on that engagement. Doku gets poked out. He's got to be careful about where he's standing in these team fights because you can't really use that Raijin ultimate as defense against Thor ult. He'll just freebie as soon as he lands, and he'll kill you very easily.
And funny enough, Rapio didn't even go in him. He went for the Sotos instead of that. I'm not sure if he really realized how susceptible Doku was in that instance there. Mizzega, though, I think he played that team fight relatively well, although he's struggling this game for assists and survival, I would say. Died 3 times so far. A lot of investment from JustF6 towards that. Is that what we expect against Yemojas because of the threat that she's going to bring later?
She's definitely recognized as one of the best gods in the game, so teams are going to be very tuned in to how they can try and shut her down, no doubt.
Well, anti-heal's one way, that's for sure, and we've already
pretty good
seen a little bit of that being picked up, specifically on Doku, who's actually frontlining here.
That's what I'm saying, Graham. Scylla Crush does that much damage, sure, but Raijin gets it up more often. Sure, it's 2 abilities, but it hits AoE on the whole team. Give me that.
We don't have to talk about it again. Oh, I don't know what that's about. Mizzega under pressure here. Flopped on and dead. They get rebuked down and Rapio's in there. The waves crush in. And Doku loses his life. though Rapio is under pressure himself as Sotos somersaults in and takes his life in response. Totti gets away for now, and the damage is 2 for 2. Primal Fury did go the way of JustF6 though, so as long as they get away without losing too many more lives, they're in an okay position here.
Still feel like JustF6 frontline is diving a little bit too much. Not a whole lot of peel, and frankly, their composition isn't really designed to peel particularly well. That's why you want a god like Raijin and Jing who can peel for themselves fairly effectively. But this dive from Rapio and Gnome is working out.
I think the one thing I'm noticing is Rottwen really is the initial diver for this team. If they can play around this Bacchus a little bit more, you know, maybe force him into a spot where you set a trap for him, you could find a bit more result there.
I agree. I think that it's proven that he can find himself caught out, just like this.
Got himself caught out there. Nice little wave from Gnome with the back of the Pikarino in tow. Will at least close the gap in kills to 5 now. Fire Giant's looming, and without Totti being available, Pikarinoobs might want to start trying to get aggressive here. Actually, Pyro just came up.
Perfect timing. Totti has been ineffective so far this game. Bottom of the player damage charts, just not doing enough damage right now. I mean, Doku's been doing good damage. Oti has been beasting all game long. Just not enough. From Soto's had a tough time finding initiations, and Totti's been having a tough time staying far enough away to not get hit by all this damage and still providing damage at the same time.
Well, Pikarinoobs are trying to gather some speed here. They take a tier 1 on the right-hand side, and now they're looking towards a tier 2. Rottwen up downs on Rapio. Rapio forced to jump away. Now with Oti rotating in, Gnome will leap back towards safety along with Mizzega. Ring was dropped down there too. This isn't the greatest of fights, I would say, for Pikarinoobs just yet. For final judgment charge, and boom goes the dynamite. He did find Doku, had his Aegis up, but Rapio got hold of him and will get credit for the kill. Still in the fight though is Sotos, and into the sky goes one. No choice for Bacchus to be involved so far. He comes back down to find his death to Pikarino, and it's the Pikarinoobs stepping up when they need to. 2 members dead, and the health bars are relatively good. Guess why? Yemoja, baby.
Yep, Yemoja keeps them all sustained throughout that whole team fight. That was good damage coming through from Oti. Doku put a little bit out, but great dunk by Rapio. He takes Doku out of this fight instantly. And it's another team fight where if Doku is going to get hard focused, Totti has to pop off. Totti has to do more than this. And if Doku gets full kitted by Thor, why is Totti not there to insta-kill him off of it? It's because he was on respawn that whole time. It was never really a part of that fight. By the way, Mizzega doubled his healing in that engagement.
Oh yeah.
He did that much work.
And that's time. That's the right time to do it too. David did go on a wild ride all the way across towards the Gold Fury, by the way, at the end of that fight. But now the Fire Giant under threat. In comes Pikarinoobs and JustF6, but Pikarinoobs will get it. Expectedly so in a 3v5. But it's a little bit closer for comfort than anybody would have liked.
Double blinks from Sotos and Odin nearly got in there and stole it away. Not a great job of zoning by Pikarinoobs, but
we're all tied up now.
Sometimes,
kind of.
Yeah, I mean, this is Pikarinoobs' lead, no doubt about it. When was the last time they lost a 5-on-5? They haven't. They haven't all game. It's even with JustF6 being in the lead, every team fight has either been a wash or in Pikarinoobs' favor. And I think that you can thank Yemoja for that one. That's what she does. She makes it really, really hard to team fight against her.
Overall, I mean, look at compositions. I mean, normally talk about late game, kind of balanced. I think both of them have good, decent late game compositions as they get there.
I agree.
Maybe slightly JustF6 falls off ever so slight, I'd say. More so than Pikarinoobs.
I don't know. I mean, Bacchus pretty good late game. Jingwei's phenomenal. Yeah. It can be difficult to team fight as Heimdallr late game because you just get jumped. I think Raijin's great in late game. You can do it. You can hit people from a distance. His damage output is really, really high. His scaling is good. It takes a little bit to get there. He's nearly to 5 items. It's just that he's been focused out by Rapio so far every fight.
We are zooming down mid with the Pikarinoobs now in this FG buff. Not an enhanced one just yet. As Davey gonna do a good job as Sentry Ward and actually zone Sotos away. But I think they'd rather have him looking to try and hit onto the Phoenix than zone away the Hun Batz. Keep an eye on Rottwen. He's one of the engagers. He's the only one with really Blink available right now, unless we see a somersault in from Sotos on this Hun Batz. Rapio, though, trying to watch the angles, look for the opportunity. Patience, because the other waves haven't pushed up here. This is all about mid, and in goes one, and the other of the frontliners. Rottwen needs a ton of damage from Pikarino, as Gnome did get the ring down and force everybody back. The Phoenix is below half health, and will now fall. Final Judgment destroys Totti, and now it's Rottwen under pressure too. But his jukes are just good enough to get away for now. And with Rapio dunking in and jumping to his hammer, Rapio needs to be a little bit more careful than that. Won't end up getting punished though. And Pikarinoobs rotate straight to the left-hand side. A little bit risky. but they're actually doing a good job of tanking it for the time being as Oti gets to the front line.
Rottwen up front finds a decent stun, but eats one in return,
Ouch.
and Davey is swinging right now.
Heimdallr, especially with Chins and Trans, you're going to have a good time. Now the Phoenix under threat. Remember, no minions on this either. Well, that just shows how confident this team is now playing and how useful it's coming up. We see healing again, Doug. Just want to see how much that's popping up. All right, didn't achieve too much more there.
Hey, only 2,000. Only 2,000 healing that engagement.
I mean, he did 4K in the one before that. That's why I'm like, hey, 2K's not as much.
Yeah, but how much shielding? We don't keep track of that stat.
Good point.
He's getting both of those at the exact same time. Really, I feel like I should be doing a little bit more work here, new man, but this analysis seems pretty simple to me. It's another fight where Totti is a non-factor. He gets one shot.
Wait, do you ever work?
Well, work is in quotations,
Okay.
you know what I mean? But usually I have to think a little bit harder than this. I have to use my brain power a little bit more, as limited as it is. I don't know. It's all it's not enough damage. It's just Totti and SCC are doing nowhere near enough damage. This wouldn't be enough damage if there was no heal shield machine on the other side, but there is a healing and shielding machine.
Jingwei, SCC, 5K player damage each. Below the Bacchus, sure, Bacchus does good damage. But then again, Yemoja's higher than both of them, and Yemoja's kind of becoming in the healing part of the stage.
Yeah, she's not doing any damage outside of dropping that ultimate, and maybe it crashes on one or two people, but it doesn't hit you that hard. It's really a displacement ultimate.
Someone's going to talk to Totti about this build. If you're in EU with this guy, let him know this Assy start is not working out, okay? Assy's a good item. Give him power.
It shouldn't
Tell him
matter.
to buy power.
It shouldn't matter at this point in the game what he started with. We're 5.5 items in. We're
He's still got no power.
He doesn't have a lot. You're right. Rage is not a high power item. It transfers your power into more damage. It's not a particularly high power build. But
his most powerful item he's going to have this game is Deathbringer.
Yeah, that's 50.
40.
Is it only 40?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a whole lot.
See, you don't think. I told you that would work.
Yeah, you're right. I don't.
I only knew that because Mifflin and me were talking about it earlier.
Yeah, I know.
I'm being honest, you know.
Yeah, I know. I know that if I get corrected by you on an item stat, you must have looked at it 5 minutes before we started talking about it.
But I'm honest about it, at least, for the most part.
Only if you get called out. This time.
I called myself out. It's
this
safety.
time you did. You're
safety
right.
note. FG coming up soon. And will Pikarinoobs be able to close out this game and tie the series of this best of 3? Honestly, coming into this and seeing JustF6 against 60 earlier on, I expected this was Pikarinoobs' game, you know?
I agree.
Because 60 and Pikarinoobs, two teams that arguably on paper would battle back and forth.
I think Pikarinoobs it should be the best team of those 3, personally, just by what we saw from them in the qualifier stages, but maybe not.
Well, not this game, they're not so far. SCC is wrapping around the back, but you see all that ping spam. That's coming
Davey,
out
baby.
from Pikarinoobs to let them know what's going on. How did you know it was Davey?
Heimdallr vision.
Of course.
He sees
what
all.
What a great ward that is. It's the first time Hunters have got an excuse to not ward. Rapio in the sky, dunks on Rottwen, and straight after the fact, he'll jump away. I guess he was trying to get Doku's ult, maybe. Bit of aggression out from there. Won't be the case this time. I do like SCC's position. He's not getting good ults or good damage off in these games, but I do like his decision-making of where he's rotating around.
I agree. He's put himself in good positions. It just hasn't paid off in the end.
2 Phoenixes down. This is rough. This is be-all and end-all for JustF6, I think. Try and get in on this FG. They stole one earlier on today. We'll see if they can do it again. 2 blinks are available. Frenzy pop, though. FG getting very low. Gnome trying to zone away one. Blink in. Pikarinoobs get the FG. Rottwen's going to die to the planes of the FG. The ring is dropped. I'll cancel that. Rottwen's lasted a little bit longer than expected. SCC is out until Gnome says no. He'll dunk down. No. On the backside, though, Mizzega will at least fall down to CaptainOti. But CaptainOti, for all the work he did in the early game, he just couldn't get this team to the promised land of the 2-0. Oh. Instead, he'll just have to keep fighting away against 3 as Totti has to clear out minions.
But Davey ends up dying, never got a chance to fire off that ultimate, so maybe this won't be game. I don't think it is. I mean, you've got mid and left Phoenix up. None of these waves are pushed up. You don't have that traditional hunter. Still, a good job by Pikarinoobs, good secure by Pikarino. He used that ultimate at the right time, clips 1 or 2 at the same time as securing it. Totti finally has a Deathbringer and
40
power as you called.
Thanks, Doug. Appreciate it.
SCC did more damage this team fight. He did about 2K. Totti still only 1,000 player damage in a late game team fight. That's 3 autos.
I give him some credit of the fact he's probably had to base for those Phoenixes because both Phoenixes are all back up off that.
Yep.
So I can understand that if he's a little bit lower there, sure, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But he is lacking power, and you can start to see why we talk about power being so important. But there's a lot of stats on Hunters. Crit, pen, attack speed. You want all those things too. But the be-all and end-all, if you're going to hit one basic attack, make it swing like a truck if you can.
I mean, he'll be critting for 600, 700 probably. It's still not bad.
But it could be 12, 1300.
On Heimdallr, sure. On Jing,
So
you're
1100 then.
Yeah, you're critting like 900.
Sorry, I've been watching too many Zap streams. That's what, you know.
Oh, okay.
That's
see
the
how-
reason why.
Yeah, that's
Normally, the reflect damage is so much.
yeah, he's going to be critting for 1100, if only so that the Thorns and Nemean on the other side. Right.
No, from lining, gets straight towards Totti, and the Bird Bomb tries to connect. On the back of that, Sota's got in, but a great play from Davy to yeet him into the stratosphere. Now, though, the chase is on for Davy, and Doku jumps over the wall, but Davy got credit for one before Oti took his life, and Oti's now looking at Mizzega. Mizzega's still alive, though how, I do not know. Still, the chase is on, and finally, Oti will get a double. This is a good fight for JustF6 to an extent, but now Totti focusing again, forced to airstrike away, and where can he get away? That's the real question. Blinking from Gnome, all the while Oti and Totti are having a really hard time, I should say, is Totti. Oti, on the other hand, 8-1-5. He's really keeping this team in this game.
Poor Pikarino, Rapio and Gnome having the time of their life, taking no damage, chasing around the ADC, and Pikarino is screaming and crying for his life behind them. And Odin just has all the time in the world to cut him down.
I mean,
no
that's
bias,
why
by the way.
Pikarinoobs, right? They don't protect Pikarino.
I suppose so, because he got no peel that team fight. But Odin, again, has a great job. You called it, though. Davy killing SCC before he can get that ultimate off is the game-changing fight.
Because that blink was great.
Great blink, put himself in a perfect position.
Yeah.
And Davy just didn't really feel like getting Fear No Evil that team fight, especially because he had no relics at all. It's a great individual play by him.
However, at the tail end, Pikarinoobs will at least get the Fury. Fire Giant's going to take a little bit longer, about a minute and a half's time. But it's starting to stall a little bit here. Sure, Pikarinoobs do have a substantial gold lead at 8,000, but that becomes less and less important as everyone starts to get closer and finish off these 6 items. The gap will close. And this is where I'm seeing a bit more score, because Pikarinoobs have 2 Phoenixes down this game so far. They've kind of squandered a couple of opportunities, I feel.
I agree. Same kind of story as last game, right?
Yeah.
They've got a good opportunity, though this game, JustF6 got off to a great lead and then ended up throwing that away with Pikarinoobs making a couple really good comeback plays in this game.
A little bit of zoning work going ahead, but we can have a little back at what we just saw there as this Pyro started up. It was a crazy little replay situation. This isn't the replay, this is the replay. That was the little ult that came out from Davy just onto SCC, who leapt over that wall.
And it one-shot him. I mean, the full power Heimdallr at this stage of the game. I like the no crit on the Heimdallr. You want as much power and pen as you can get, so your abilities are really solid at those moments, for sure.
Rottwen gonna go in though, onto Gnome, but Gnome straight away has another shield. Not his own. Oh, is it? Yeah, it was. That's the confusion. Which shield is it? Is it a Yemoja one, or is he gonna explode?
Or is it Shell?
So many shields these days.
Some people may think it's just always Shell.
Flop on Gnome. Gnome under pressure, though. He taking a ton of damage from Doku. And Gnome just jumped in. He's going to die before anyone else can get in. But great ult from Rapio to the backline. Mizzega shoots by Doku. And he got the wall off to stun Doku away from the jump. With Doku out of the fray, this opens up. SCC trying to answer back on Pikarino. Overhand smash is good, but it's not enough damage to bring him down. The heals from Mizzega are just causing so many problems. And a slap to the monkey's head is going to end his life. The bird is doing well. 9-1-4.
Rapio has had such a good game on this Thor. And it's kind of what we expect from a guy who's played as much Thor as Rapio has. Nearly caught Totti with that wall, but the root was still good.
Still the chase is on, though. I'm surprised they could have gone for FG here instead. They're trying
Left
to
side
run
Phoenix.
it down to the right-hand side. Good call, actually. Left-hand side is the reason we might be seeing this, trying to prevent them from clearing out that wave. I don't think that wave's going to do it on their own with it.
I don't know. It's an Oni wave.
3.
Those things are
Let's go, boys.
rushing. Those boys have been hitting the gym. You see how fast they're pulling those arrows back? Goodness. Left side Phoenix down to the Oni wave.
Okay. Into the sky goes Rapio again, though. Oti going to be the prime target. Rottwen's in the other area. Bit of a hard situation to miss the stun there, I'd say. And Oti slips the noose for now. They find that pick. That could have been really awkward for JustF6 around this FG.
Still feel like Pikarinoobs can pull this if they so choose. I mean, they've got 5 strong. right here, but maybe they're just waiting. If JustF6 are going to leave this left side Phoenix entirely and not even worry about these fire minions, then I suppose it's right for Pikarinoobs to just stand around and wait for the fire minions to do the work themselves.
Just keep an eye on that green wave on the left-hand side of your map. Just as it slowly marches up there, it'll cause some problems. In goes Otti first of all. He puts a wall and a pretty decent amount of damage. But talking about damage, Doku is really causing some problems. Ultimate out from Rottwen, and there's the drums of war sounding. It does hit Davey and force him right out of the fight. Talking about being forced out of the fight, there goes CaptainOti.
Finally, this is only the second time this game someone's been able to take him down. And Pikarino's had a great game so far on this Thoth. Long-range artillery mage, still doing all that good stuff. He's actually overcapped on penetration between the Charon's Coin, the Divine Ruin, and the Obsidian Shard. But it's working for him so far. I don't know about the Obsidian Shard. Maybe I would have gone with something different there to not overcap, but you kind of get away with it because the passive from Ob Shard, maybe.
Charon's Coin, one of the newer items, the mobility it really gives you when it's stacked is so useful to mages.
Sure, isn't it? Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, you get that 8% movement speed, not what boots provide, but kind of like what a katana will do for assassins.
Sure. Now with the Fire Giant started up again. No, I'm going to attack this one out. Rottwen in the area, so is Totti, and look where Sotos is. Wrapping round the back again. FG's taking a while. Davey will see this when he steps on that portal, remember? That's the line that Doug's just pointed out. Into the sky goes Rapio early on. Pikarino was early on to Davey. Davey being focused. Great somersault from Sotis. Wow. He avoids the judgment too, but he still falls down to Rapio and the dunk squad of AppointedGnome.
Man, he avoided 2 ultimates and 2 ones that would have one-shot him. The third is what ends up catching him out. This Fire Giant should finally go down. No one else from JustF6 is going to be close enough to contest. It's Totti again, forced out.
Just on the run consistently, although Gnome may have overextended for a second. Otti back in the fray, but the whole of Pikarinoobs with an FG now they're starting to barrel down the right-hand side. They're bringing minions with them. It's looking good here without Sotos being up for a while. However, Otti and Doku still have their ultimates up here.
Doku has beads this time as well. He's been in the last few team fights without a whole lot of options to end up surviving. He's just got to try and stay safe. He and Totti have to stay far enough away from each other. They're not both going to get zoned.
Couch going out from Rottwen, trying to slow them down, and it's way more than bargain for. Flop on Gnome caused problems though, and Gnome has to jump back out. Into the back goes Rapio, looking to clean up Doku and Rottwen, but he's having a hard time doing so. Will get away to his hammer in time, all the while Davey swinging those big old axes at the Phoenix. The job at least has been done at taking down the Phoenix. But that could have been so much better for the Pikarinoobs there.
It could have been, but good relic usage by Doku, slams both beats and Aegis against the Thor right away. And that time, Totti's right there in order to put in the auto attacks necessary to keep Rapio from just waiting out those relics and then stunning and auto attacking him as soon as those relics are down. Better fight from Totti that time, and what do you know? The team fight goes better for JustF6.
And great play from the spectator. Doug again, the hero. We need 17,000 healing now for Mizzega. That's healing. That doesn't include the shields, as we were mentioning, that Yemoja's going to bring to the fray in the late game.
Imagine not picking or banning Yemoja. That happened yesterday in an NA game. Can you believe that?
What was the comp? I mean, there's gonna be
Who
one
cares?
Or two, generally in Smite, right, there's always 1 or 2 gods that really cause problems for other gods.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what Yemoja's counter really is just yet.
The ban button. That's the only one.
Okay, well, that's fair.
That's the only counter.
That's fair.
Can't beat it.
Aggression,
Ban button
though.
needs a nerf.
JustF6, we're positioned around the primal for a bait trap, it looked like there. They were trying to wait for some staggered members of Pikarinoobs, but Pikarinoobs came as a group, and now it's them coming in the world of hurt. No, go to front line and ring them all in. But one by one, they leap away to live for now until Rapio comes to the back. And Doku just bought time with his taunt to allow Totti to take Rapio's life. Big fear, no evil out from Sotos, though. It's not enough to get a kill as Pikarino over the wall will take out Totti. And now the re-engages begin. Mizzega begins the healing train, and Pikarino will continue to chase. Right-hand side has fire minions, Ryan, too.
It's a bit risky, but no Davey means this Phoenix is going to take a little bit longer to go down. What a taunt, or fear rather, by Doku to keep him and Totti alive at least a little bit longer.
Now with this 5-minion wave on the left-hand side, they've got a bit more of a chance. Ring out from Gnome, trapping Otti in place alongside Doku. Doku will leap away and get away from Gnome in time. No focus on the Phoenix, and Gnome's going to fall down at the tail end. No, he won't, because Mizzega's just going to keep him healing. All the while in the back of the fight, Pikarino got left 1v1 against Sotos. This game's going to keep on going for now.
Feels like it, man. I mean, another staunch defense
they
by
turn this?
JustF6. Mizzega.
Can they get a Phoenix?
You've got 9 seconds on Rapio, 15 on Davy.
Yeah.
Probably not. You can get Primal Fury if you want it, but Fire's not up for a minute 40. Not a whole lot.
We are at that stage of the game, though, that if you wipe like that, you can see the time is 58 to 60 seconds. You're starting to really think about, hang on a second, we may have to stagger our deaths if we're going to have a bad fight and fall back a little bit earlier.
These fights have just been a little bit sloppy, but as soon as what really changed for JustF6 is that Rapio's been punished for going on Remag, where he really wasn't for the majority of the early game. Totti's been able to put in enough damage at this point. Still pretty low on that damage chart overall, but it's been enough effective damage onto Rapio to keep Doku alive long enough for him to make a bigger impact.
How do you feel about Rapio's build at the tail end here? Because obviously, Mantle of Discord's great, but then I was thinking Magi's Cloak might have been more useful, right?
Maybe.
Avoid that first taunt, you know?
Maybe. If your whole plan,
CC.
if your whole plan is a suicide bomb onto Doku, Magi's is better. But if you're trying to get the kill or force some relics, then survive, Mantle's better. And I think that you're going to find yourself in more positions where Mantle is useful than something like that Magi's. Not to say the Magi's is bad here. It's pretty solid.
Game 1, we saw him on the Mercury go it. That's why it's interesting, because it's a very similar S composition. If not, there's some more big old CCs like Kafirna Weaver that you can kind of avoid or prevent a little bit of.
Now, did he sell Heartseeker for Bloodforge, or has he had that Bloodforge this whole time? Because that's the item that I'm like, I'm not so sure on that one. The reason that Heartseeker is so good on Thor is whenever you dunk, you get a Heartseeker proc. Then whenever you 3, you get 2 Heartseeker procs because it procs off your lightning damage from your ultimate and the spin. That's a lot of damage.
Oh, that's a lot of damage that we just saw Totti there. Was that a Soul Gem proc? I think I saw it. It was indeed from Pikarino. And Soul Gem's an item that's been a little bit slept on. I've seen some of the pros start to talk about Soul Gem being a little bit more impactful on some of these mages now. It's a pretty good spot. Honestly, with that 80 power, it did get a bit of a power buff, and that's why we started to see more of it.
It did. I mean, it's basically just adding 30% scaling to whatever ability you get. It's just a matter of how consistently can you get that stacked up and ready to proc. It's really good on gods like Giannis because he needs that extra scaling, and it procs off Threshold, Portal, basically everything you do. Thoth, it takes a little bit longer at times to get that stack up, but when you get it, it's worth a lot.
Well, the dance of the Fire Giant begins again. All 3 Phoenixes back up again for JustF6, but this time round, a better position for Pikarinoobs. Rapio to the sky, more than likely looking at Doku and will do so. Beats used, Aegis used, and Peel prevented. Doku in the backhand nice and deep, but that River's Rebuke is trapping in some of that front line of JustF6. Where is Sotos? There he is.
Oh no,
and there
not
he goes.
like this.
Absolute disaster.
No,
the caster curse asking
bro.
where he is. We didn't want him there, boys and girls, that's for sure. Huge win for the Pikarinoobs for that, because now they're going to try and march in even deeper. And that final judgment from Pikarino didn't even need to charge it.
Oh no. Nothing feels worse than dropping the Fear No Evil in no man's land. Yeah, I don't know if he got hit by something and canceled the blink, and maybe the blink was in a wall.
Happens sometimes, I tell you. I've seen it happen to the best of them out there too. Middle Phoenix, it was already weakened, should go down relatively quick with Davy here. And Pikarino's really swinging at this point, man.
Yeah, 53k damage, 6-item Thoth, has been able to do whatever he wants.
Who's supposed to get to this top?
No one. That's how Thoth does it.
Vamana!
Vamana, yeah, exactly. Vamana gets to him. That's pretty much it. It's really difficult to get on top of him, and you just don't have the same dive that something like a Thor has.
Rapio going to the sky, and with all 3 Phoenixes down, they've got no minions for this, so this is a little bit weird, a little bit dangerous, but they are in a pretty potent advantage, 5 on 3. Sotos gets in, and Sotos is relieved of his duties for game number 2. We're going to a game 3 between Pikarinoobs and JustF6. I was not expecting to say that today.
Especially not after how well Odin started off this game and how dominant he was.
But man.
It was nuts. It was nuts, but ultimately not enough. He finishes 9-3, but 13-2 for Pikarino. 56k damage. We do be liking that one.
We do indeed, especially if you're a mid lane mage, especially when you're complaining about Discordia picks and Vulcan picks, right?
Compare what Thoth just did to what Vulcan, Scylla, or Discordia could have done right there. Why are we picking those characters? Pick Thoth. He's better.
2 games down. We're tied up. Honestly, the loser of this is probably not going to make it out of the group. And right now, I don't know which way it's going to go. Let's get over to the consortium and see what they have to say.
Don't worry, we're going to break that set down and go into detail, but I got to say, man, you don't get to go 9, 3, and 10 and be second in player damage and lose that often in this league, man. I feel bad for my man Odin. What a performance he had on the King Arthur, but obviously congratulations to Pikarinoobs for pulling this one out, because for most of this game, they were under the boot, man. They were struggling. Goremizer, talk to me a little bit about what you saw happening earlier on in this game, too, because eventually Pikarino got online on this Thoth and just was unanswerable.
Essentially, there's a curve, and I guess two curves that go against each other, right? There's one that is Odin starts up incredibly high. He does amazing early on. He's controlling the game. Honestly, if you could cut this off at 20 minutes, ask anyone what's going on, JustF6 win the game.
Yeah.
And then about that time, that curve for him that started up at the very top of the graph just tanks down into the ground. And about that time, if you were running the stocks, if you had bought Thoth early, it'd be perfect for you because he just skyrockets in what he's able to do. I mean, the difference between the two, 21,000 damage. And it's just ridiculous to see what Pikarino was able to do. And it showcases how much that Vamana was doing in Game 1.
Right.
If Pikarino was able to do that on the Persephone, we wouldn't be at Game 3. It would have ended here. Pikarinoobs would be moving forward happily with this win. But as of right now, I mean, you got to figure something else out because that Thoth, he did way too much and had literally no care in the world. No one could touch her.
He absolutely did, man. And we talk about this all the time. Thoth has such a nice range that he works from. So if your dive is not on point, then there's no way that you're going to get to him. And that's why I think we got to talk about Sotos a bit more on this Unbots. It's someone's job to get back to the Thoth, and it kind of does fall to that Unbots. But, I mean, I don't want to harp too much on that last Fear No Evil, but, I mean, come on. That wasn't it, right? That was like in the wall. Yeah. That almost loses the game for you all at that point. I mean, it's obviously you're in a position where you're on the defensive, you're already on the back foot, but if he can get there, he's in the position where he's right in the middle of everybody. Yeah. If he has an impactful Fear No Evil there, maybe we're still in that game right now, and maybe JustF6 still have a chance. I mean, there just was not enough to get back there to that Thoth.
I mean, there is something to be said. After like the 35-ish minute mark, a lot of the fights become like, especially depending on the state of the towers more than anything, it kind of becomes whoever wins this next fight can win the game. Right? It's just run it down mid, kill the Phoenix, kill the Titan if you're in the right position. And that's where both of those teams were at the end, where it's just that Fear No Evil or maybe just something else goes right for them. They can get to that Thoth and stop him early in that fight. Then you're maybe not only in it, maybe you're winning it and it's a 2-game set.
Yeah, we got to give plenty of credit to the Yemoja. I think it was Mizzega that played that one as well. Makes life a lot harder for you when you're trying to fight into that. Let's go into the picks and bans now for game number 3, and no one is happier to see that game number 3 showing up than my man Gnome, because he got absolutely worked in the solo lane, man. Just used up by Odin in that last game. I mean, that early game was brutal. I don't know any other way to talk about it. 1v2'd, diving him beyond the tier 1s, multiple solo kills. He's trying to put that performance behind him here in game number 3.
That's one of those games that, like, you forget about it.
Hopefully.
Like, there's a lot of things that, I mean, it will haunt you forever. But if you can just push it into the past, like just especially for this one, this is the most important game that you have as of right now.
Yeah.
Just forget. Just shrug it off. Just or try to if you can. It's very difficult. I can understand getting tilted off of something like that, but it's that much control. You know the Vamana was really good in game 1, but you know, hey, you know what? Even though he dominated me this entire game, it didn't make a difference. So maybe we can like hold on to it. Maybe I just, you know, shrug it off a little bit and hope for the best here.
Yeah, do you know if Pikarino is really looking forward to Animal Crossing or something? Pick that up for him or something, my man. You got to help him out after that game because he bailed you out.
Your conversation afterwards, like, dude, what's your favorite cereal?
Yeah, man, what can I help you out with?
You know, I like, man, hey, what? You remember this funny video? Here's like 10 cute cat videos and 5 cute dog videos. Like, whatever you want, like, here, just stop focusing on that.
Yeah,
don't worry about King Arthur right now.
Well, it's Kukulkan first pick here for JustF6. They'll pair that with the Shibalanke and the Geb, and already they've got a great team fight. You're exactly right, man. I mean, you turn off the lights to that Darkest of Nights, it's so much easier to find a good Kukulkan ultimate. The Geb's in there for disruption as well, some peel if they get to that backline. These first 3 they picked up are pretty strong, but I'm a bit surprised. We haven't seen Vamana or the King Arthur prioritize the 2 solo lane bullies we've seen so far.
And honestly, I think it might just be because of the presence of Kukulkan, the presence of Xing. Like, right now, there's just a lot that's open, that's strong, that you kind of want in favor, I would say, over your solo lane. Although Geb is kind of interesting there. Like, Shibalanke we saw heavily prioritized yesterday in NA. Geb, I think, is the reason that it's like, hey, we can peel now. Like, if you're Vamana, here's a health shield. We can at least turn around to help, which is something that Pikarinoobs weren't able to deal with earlier.
Is that all?
So they go the
you can do
Osiris,
better.
which is going to give some anti-heal, which I think is going to help fight into this a little bit more as well.
I think so. Cyrus also a bit of a lane bully too, so that should give
I like Osiris.
a bit of a better chance for Gnome there in lane to battle, especially if he ends up against this Achilles, which it looks like with the Thanatos locked in, he might be able to win that matchup. I am a bit surprised though, without any bans, that we're suddenly just moving away like as gentlemen from the Vamana, King Arthur. Those guys have been really strong, but that appears to be the case here as the Havois being hovered.
It's like saying, hey, here's one, like, here are two things that kind of helped us win these games, and then just like,
Yeah, we
there's
just
it
don't
off to the
need
side.
them.
Who cares? We'll go Achilles Thanatos. But it's going to be interesting to see how they manage it. I think there's a lot of power for JustF6 and a good power curve for them.
Yes.
Thanatos to kind of help keep them coast in the early game to transition to the Kukulkan Xbalanque late game, which is going to be nutty. But you have to look at Merlin, Osiris, Havois, Xing. Like, Pikarinoobs just have a solid lineup.
They really do. I think that they've got a chance to win this one, but JustF6 have come well equipped to this match too. Game number 3 could be a decider. Let's find out.
Thanks so much, Finch and Gore. Yeah, it really is a decider, to be fair. I think Pikarinoobs definitely favourites coming into this, and if they do well here, they're going to be in a good spot to potentially qualify. JustF6, meanwhile, they lost to 60 earlier on in the broadcast we showed, and, well, this is kind of a do or die for them here, too.
3 losses is guaranteed L.
Yep.
You're not making the groups. 3 wins, you're guaranteed. I think there is a scenario where you can win 2, lose 3.
But then you've got to have a head-to-head situation,
right.
and, like, the
Here's
head-to-heads
my
will buy
advice.
out.
Win 3 sets.
Wow, Ryan, what analysis breakdown.
And then you won't have to worry about it, Smile.
Great job. Thank you. Cuckoo and Thanatos. Interesting from JustF6. CaptainOti going to be playing the Achilles this game. I'm definitely paying attention to Oti after the last 2 games he's had. The Vamana game, he did his job. And the King Arthur game, he did his job.
Yep.
Can he do the same on Achilles? This time, though, JustF6 have 2 executes here.
I like it. I mean, no, usually you see the double execute against things like Kepri, where it's like, oh, we got him now. But Geb's oftentimes the same sort of idea where, oh, I'll shield you so you won't get killed at the last second. Execute doesn't care about that shield. So I like the idea. I do think Thanatos is pretty decent right now. It's a high execution god, though, and Sotos did not execute particularly well last game.
Been a while since we've seen Hebo versus Thanatos in the jungle, too. I do know Hebo is on the rise in terms of play at the moment. I'd say he's not in a terrible spot, but I'm not sure how the Phantom matchup really goes. It's a battle of, well, raw, unadulterated power and damage more than anything else.
They one-shot each other.
Yes.
So that's fun, you
But
know?
one of them heals off that when the other one needs Bancrofts to heal off it.
Yeah, but he's going Bancroft, so it doesn't really matter.
That's fair.
That's going to be the game plan. I'm looking forward to seeing if Rapio is going to go with the full lifesteal kit and go with something like Bancrofts into boots and Typhon's there.
Pressure from Sotos, he blinks in, looking for the kill on Rapio, but he can't get it
Got
off. Doku, though, will spit onto Rapio and find first blood. The power of Kukulkan compels you.
Just such greedy pathing. So we see people die for this pathing all the time. Just walk around, take the scenic route, enjoy your day. You know, take a nice 5-minute walk outside. It's good for you. Take it through the jungle. That is a very, very risky pathing. It just, you can't do it against Thanatos. Good blink in recognition and good accuracy by Doku.
And a great start for Sotos as well. Kind of struggled last game for my liking here.
Yep.
Game 1, okay, I think he had an okay marginal game, and now he's going to get a double if he's lucky. Just needs a couple more basics, and we'll find it for a second kill. AppointedGnome, that's all the pressure that came from mid, just rotating to his side of the map.
Perfect, and that should have been communicated by Pikarino that which side of the jungle Sotos
Mizzega
went
just
into.
caught the dash out of Toddy, and Davy realizes he's in a lot more pressure here. But the blocks out of Rottwen is great, really frontlining his game to the best of his ability, allowing Davy to, well, be stuck in no man's land, and now blinking from Rottwen looking for the kill. Not enough levels in that shockwave to find it there, Rottwen. Not so sure about that one.
But Davy beads, what is he beadsing, bro? I mean, he's still taking the
knock
damage.
up after, yeah.
I guess, I don't know, just ambitious from Rottwen, but he was in Davy's head, bro. He had him locked down. Nearly, he got the beads, so that's worth his blink for sure.
Really fun, though. I mean, the support matchup there was great. Mizzega started that off by catching the Rising Jaguar more than anything else with that root combo. And that's where Xbalanque is a little bit susceptible. Not many people realize that.
Yeah, that startup frame is more than one frame. It's a pretty decent amount of time where he's on the ground and hasn't risen into the air. So it's the Jaguar part of the Rising Jaguar. You can interrupt that part.
Aggro.
But what?
Totti is rushing Essie.
Oh, nice.
SCC though, he's rushing
Oh, no, he's going Transcendence.
He rushed Assie every game so far.
Yeah, but he's not this time.
I know, that's what I'm like, oh, he's
Oh,
not
you're
rushing
excited.
Assie.
Ah, okay, yeah.
He's adjusted. They might win this game just off that alone.
I mean,
they have a carry this game.
Transcendence, pretty good on Xbalanque. Lets you keep your one on permanently, so that's pretty solid. I wonder if he's gonna go crit. We've seen Xbalanque's kind of forego it. I believe Coast didn't go for crit in his set with Xbalanque, and I think that's a no-brainer almost for me.
Really?
I'm getting assists across the map.
That's
Give me
true.
Rage, and I have the highest power of any hunter because of my passive. Give me Rage, but maybe he'll go for that pen build. We'll have to wait and see.
It's a good point. A lot of people don't realize that global ultimate from Xbalanque procs those sort of stacking items.
Oh, yeah.
And stacking items are something that, people forget about those little intrinsic details.
Assists across the map, it gives you global gold, and of course the stack for your Rage seems pretty solid to me. I think that it's hard when you go Transcendence though because you're lacking sustain at that point, and hunters love to have that lifesteal, so maybe they delay the Rage until later, or they going Trans, Boots, Rage, delaying Xe, getting Bloodforge. It is hard. I don't think it's an easy build path. I don't know that anyone's found one that feels particularly perfect.
Speaking of build paths, you can see the mid laners. Bit of a difference there, obviously, with Kukulkan on the map. You expect to see the Book of Thoth rush, and that's what we got there. Pikarino playing the Merlin. You'll more than likely see that Chronos pendant. And more importantly, the two support players, I love their choice of boots here. Normally, it's choose a focus, hold our bot, Cataclysm use, and the response is straight away onto Rottwen's face. The up down on the dome was good, but it's not enough for a kill. Rottwen tanky enough just now. Thanks to those reinforced Greaves, funny enough. But Sotos, who came on the back, dies. And straight away, it'll be answered back by CaptainOti as Rapio then rotates in to make it a 2-for-1 in the solo lane.
Oti wanted to put Gnome in Esky range so badly,
Oh, yeah.
but he ends up just hard committing a little bit too hard.
Doku's in a bit of pressure there. We'll get a nice shield out of Rottwen at the tail end there just to prevent any more. And I do want to bring up those reinforced Greaves here because it's not something all supports get. But when you look at what you've got from Kukulkan, and you've also got a Merlin on the other side, these are really good for staying in the battle. Huge.
It just makes such a big difference when you would normally be taking true damage from Dragonfire. Instead, you'll have a little bit of prot left over. It's also pretty good against things like Geb, where you're going to get CC'd and then CC'd again. Starting yourself with a lot of CCR means that you'll get DR'd very quickly, and then the follow-up stun or silence that from either Achilles or Thanatos will do a lot less to you.
Not gonna lie, it's hard as a support to want to go these though. That cooldown is so useful for you. The extra mana you get from the Shoes of Focus, so impactful, but it's the right call.
It is.
And that's the big thing here.
Also, it's really good against two-stage CC abilities like Hook Slam from Xing Chen, because you get max DR'd right away, and again, you're starting at a higher CCR rate.
Pikarino just under a bit of pressure here, tries to get back towards Rapio, blinking him Sotos. Sotos will find the silence, and the ultimate will secure the kill out of Doku. But Sotos needs some help against Rapio. Rapio with the ultimate, and there's a tail end of Mizzega rotating. Will at least make sure the jungler dies for the mid laner. And on the tail end of this, look at Oti. He's actually going to be able to catch Rapio. No, the rollout misses from Rottwen. And instead it's Oti, with one of his first real mistakes of the game, will end up falling down there, and it helps out Pikarino some more.
Tough. Tried to get the execute, but just couldn't find it. Wonder, no, Sotos wouldn't have lived if he channeled the ultimate, because he would have still taken damage from that whirlwind of Rage and Steel, no matter what, I believe. So, bit of an overcommit maybe, but I like the idea of fighting Pikarino in the wrong spot. And there is some value, even though you lose 2 in that engagement and only gain 1. Doku is getting really fed on this Kukulkan, and Pikarino starting to fall behind.
Yeah, 2-level lead for him over Pikarino right now. And that just spells more doom and gloom for you, because there's a lot of talk at the moment. Fitch was bringing this up, like, do we call it the library build? Should we not just call it the nerd build, is what he said, because, if you've got that many books, you probably are a nerd, right?
Oh, so reading's nerdy now, huh? You can't get educated without being called a nerd?
I mean, chat will agree, yeah.
Oh, well. I don't know. Does chat agreeing actually help an argument, by the way? I think it sometimes hurts.
When I feel like it.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of the rule. Do I agree with chat sometimes? Yeah, when it suits me. And this time it suits me.
Oh, fair enough. I think I've always called it the library build, but
I like
maybe
both, honestly.
Maybe that makes me a nerd. I don't know. Wait a minute. Fitch did debate in high school. He can't call anybody else a nerd.
That's
Are you kidding me?
That is true.
No way.
All
Get
right.
out of here with that nonsense.
All right. It's the library build then.
He did debate.
Okay.
That's so nerdy.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess you've cleared that one up for me. SCC on the left-hand side, and you can see Doug wants to just get right into the action too of like that little conversation we're going off there. I still might see a bit of pressure again, but it won't be the case.
And listen, I'm not judging anybody else who did debate. Only John Finch.
Oh.
That's all I'm saying.
Oh,
okay.
You know, reaffirming your points for safety there, huh?
Yeah, I mean,
That's
I still
a
want
debate
chat.
tactic, isn't it?
It sure is. But I didn't take debate because I'm not a nerd like John Finch.
You did read a lot of books.
I do like to read this.
Yeah. 3 members strong for JustF6 in mid, then gold lead is in their favor at this point in time, even though the kills are even. It's not a huge gold lead. It could have been a lot more, but there's an execute that will be avoided by Gnome. The up-down comes at hopeful, and now with Rapio rotating in, it's Oti that will lose his life. I like the idea of make sure Rapio gets the kill there too. The ultimate I don't think was needed, but I think it's wise.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want Odin to start healing off both of you.
I
Listen,
can.
Hindu, when you get 3v1 twice,
Yep.
you're not taking any chances. Different god, I don't care. You see Odin on the street, you're crossing the street. Because you never know what's going to happen.
He's
you know?
made a name for himself in these group stages so far, that's for sure. At least in the broadcasting games, with how this stands. But now, Pikarinoobs at least even the field. Rottwen really trying to rotate around the map a little bit more. I wonder where he's going with this build. It looks like he's going magical defense early this game, which is intriguing to me because normally we'll see the Rush of Thieves, which is relatively standard. It gives you magical defense and physical, as well as some health. This build is all for magical, which means the physical dealers can do a lot more.
Yeah, but look at the other side and who the physical dealers are. It's Davey on Jing Wei. That's going to take a little bit to ramp up and really do relevant damage.
So
that's true, more damage overall. And then Gnome, who's not going to do a whole lot of damage to you anyways. Everyone else is magical. The vast majority of damage that you and your team are going to be taking this game is magical.
I'm not sure if they'll go Heartward though. It must be Heartward, right?
Yeah, it has to be. I mean, Heartward not exactly the best aura item. I do agree that it's not a staple for a reason. But in games like this, I'd be going Heartward. I think it's strong.
Yeah, Heartward will just give you a team a little bit more magical defense as a whole. And the only buff it really got recently, if I remember, was just a bit more MP5. And MP5 definitely useful, although there's other ways to find MP5 at the moment, is what you find for most supports.
Or MP5, so it helps your team. Let's be real. It was an Assault buff. Assault mains loved the extra MP5.
It doesn't get picked in Assault. I'm an Assault main.
You don't buy Heartward in Assault?
Don't buy. No, because everyone gets Blackthorn, Hammer, or Chronos Pendant. They don't need it.
You're trolling, bro.
If you play support, you go Thieves.
No, if they have a bunch of magical damage,
don't talk to me.
Heartward.
I'm an Assault main, okay? Like,
I'll put you in the dirt.
Rapio forced to ult away. Good choice there, interestingly enough. He could have beads or he could have ulted. I don't think he was under as much threat as he maybe thought he was, because he could have just walked away after the ult, because Rottwen was a little bit far forward after that blink. But the decision at least was to go with the other alternative than losing those beats.
Well, Sotos has ultimate that gets him a pretty far distance pretty quickly over those walls, so it's not too out of an idea to use something in that spot. But I agree, it was it's just lack of information overall that leaves Rapio.
Knowing that ultimate's on cooldown for Rapio, sure, Pikarinoobs know this gold is under threat thanks to that ward, but they won't be in here in time to stop that. Mizzega arrives, will catch a Geb, not the prime target you're after. Luckily, Rottwen doesn't have his ultimate, remember, so he's not going to be able to just get away as easy as he wants to. Body blocks out of Mizzega, we're okay. Not enough to slow him down. Pikarino wants to make more of this. Now look at him charging forward. Got to be careful, however, as everybody on JustF6 relatively healthy here.
Still, they use a lot of ultimates in order to confirm that Golden Fury. You got Spirit of the Nine Winds and Darkest of Nights. Sotos uses his ultimate to get away towards the tail end. So it's a good idea by JustF6, even though Pikarinoobs were pushing up pretty quickly. Don't want to take that fight. That's a pretty good general rule of thumb. If we use things to get the objective, whether it be Gold Fury or Fire Giant, we are not fighting afterwards, no matter how tempting it looks.
I am liking what I see out of JustF6 though. When they get a lead, they kind of try and roll with it, right? Sotos, Doku, both ahead. They were the ones trying to control the pace. They rotate right, they rotate left. They see that Gold Fury and they take it. This is a sign of really good teamwork.
They've played well so far. I've certainly liked what I've seen, but we've seen them get off to good starts before. Game 2.
Don't cast a hit. Don't cast a curse.
It's not really a curse if I'm just saying what happened in the past. This is not predicting the future. It's looking at the past. It's a very different.
I think Pikarinoobs are going to do very well this game as the game goes on because JustF6 will win in the early game.
That's a pretty good indication. That's kind of how the set's gone.
That's what I mean. It's
so
perfect,
far.
right?
Wait, how can you be mad at me for caster cursing when you said exactly what I said, just differently?
Chat agrees with me.
Chat agrees with me.
Okay, that's awkward now. Now neither of us can even see which one chat sides with. It could be Mixer versus Twitch, right? It could be split.
Yeah, I guess it could be.
There's
But
also
I think
YouTube. There's also Steam as well. Like,
I think all chats agree with me. And I don't have any proof, but neither do you, and that's what matters.
You win that one.
Thank you.
For now. Pyromancer started up by JustF6, and in comes Gnome to try and slow this down. Rottwen tacking up a Storm, gets the Cataclysm off early. Gnome at half health. Into this guy goes SCC as the ring around from Mizzega only hits with Rottwen. He's still tanking up for the time being. SCC completely dipped out of this fight, by the way. And Pyro was reset. That tornado damage did tickle onto Gnome just a little bit as the fight continues. This is all for naught, however. A lot of ultimates used on the side of JustF6 there.
SCC really has not been able to use his ultimate aggressively at all so far this game.
Afraid of pulling the trigger with it?
I guess so. I mean,
kind of saw that in the Thor game too, you remember?
Yeah, he was pretty conservative with that one. I mean, on Thanatos, it's even more nerve-wracking to go in because you don't have a hammer to get away. You're killing someone or you're getting killed. There's pretty much no other way out with that Thanatos. But he's pretty strong right now in itemization. No anti-heal quite yet, and I wonder if he's going to go into a Brawlers, but probably not. You don't want to hit that. You're going to hit the flat pen cap by going 2 flat pen items on Thanatos. Once you pop your 2, you get awfully close to that flat pen cap already, so you don't really want 2. He's made his choice with the Crusher, and he's just going to try and outright kill Rapio before he gets any sustain off.
Both teams do have a little bit of anti-heal already as well. Both mid laners gone for that Divine Ruin earlier. Ooh, Pikarino. I expected Kronos, but he went for the Charon's Core in this game a little bit earlier. He's losing a lot of cooldown off this.
He is, but he needs it with the Heartward Amulet on the other side. This is actually a pretty smart decision by him, in my mind, because you get the big magical protection item for Rottwen. Already has the reinforced Greave, so he's going to be awfully tanky if you don't go percent pen as early as possible. And you get more effectiveness out of that 20% pen than you normally would, because even Doku has more magical protection than normal, courtesy of that Heartward Amulet. I think that this makes sense. You're still doing not that much damage overall with this sort of build. It's a pretty low power build, but it still has a place, and I think this is a smart one for it.
You can see a bit of advantage there for Pikarinoobs. They've set up a bit of a trap around that left-hand harpy area, and it actually allowed Davey to get a bit more aggressive on Totti for a second, knowing he had back up in tow. Nothing really came out of it, however, though, as now everyone rotates around to the right-hand harpies, which, honestly, this season, I think those right-hand harpies are going to see a lot more contest.
Don't have the same big harpies on the left side anymore. You got the minis over there, so maybe that is where we'll see more mid-lane fights, because it's the only side you can do it on.
At least on the angles, that's for sure. It goes Mizzega, though, and he's going to pick up 2. The ring was racing, the ultimate was available, the shield from Rottwen was up, but he got caught. SCC in the sky again. He was looking to follow up if needed, but he won't be there in time as Davey takes a trip back to base. As Totti gets an advantage here, blinking Rottwen, though. Will at least keep the pressure on Rapio, who used the beads there once again. Worried about the reinitiation or the ultimate out of Doku.
Pikarino also used his beads, which is big, to get both carries beads for just that blink ultimate from Geb. That's what you're hoping for.
Doku's in no man's land. He's trapped between a rock and a hard place, or rather water and Osiris. In goes Osiris at the tail end to find the kill. Doku will now fall. Left-hand side, Davey back in action, but SCC lurking around means he can't rotate in. Doku was just out of position.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. Everyone else got the memo. we're walking out, but Doku did not want to do that same thing.
With Doku being dead, this is a great opportunity for Pikarinoobs. The Gold Fury is up, or should I say Oni Fury at this stage, and they're going to start this one off. Only ultimate available is actually on CaptainOti in this fight. Sure, Pikarino has his, but it's Merlin, and that's just mainly a stance change and damage. Taking a long time on this Oni Fury, though. A little bit worried here, Pikarinoobs, about a re-engage. They're trying to wait for the right opportunity to try and secure this one. But the zone away has been good. Pikarinoobs get it, as Oti did go in for the kill. He's now going to ult away back to safety, but the chase might be on.
Should be able to catch him with Rapio's blink, unless he tosses his water spout into Timbuktu. Goodness, that wasn't even in the area code.
So he'll survive, but the good news is they still get the Fury.
Yeah,
However,
that was big.
A tier 1 tower in the mid lane does at least answer some of that back.
Yeah, that is a good decision by SCC to just go towards mid, make sure you get something back in your favor. Odin's going to be able to TP to the right-hand side, farm up this right side wave long before AppointedGnome comes back over to his side. And that should take care of just about every single one of these Oni waves. That has caught me off guard, because normally Rapio is really good.
Yeah, I think we all expected a kill.
Yeah, I thought that he was dead for sure, but Rapio feeling generous.
The chats will agree with us. Pyromancer Getting below half health here. CaptainOti in the wings, but he's got an ultimate this time. Or his blink available. Still trying to contest because Doku's back in the fray. Ultimate is there and will secure the Pyromancer for JustF6. In the tornado, though, not many were standing. The ult down from Gnome is pretty good to slow down Rottwen. He'll get body blocked by Rapio to cancel the rollout. Well, support for a Pyromancer. I'm still not sure if I'm sold on that one.
Especially with its tier 1 tower in both mid and solo lane. Pretty vulnerable at this point. Doku, no ultimate, no Aegis. He's not going to want to step up too far and get involved in this fight. I don't think losing both Rottwen and your tier 1 and right is worth that Pyro.
Nice little work from Pikarino so to get that tier 1. Now they're all going to recall back to base. I would have preferred a bit of a stagger there because there was a little chance if JustF6 saw that, that could have been an easy FG potential attempt or trying to get some towers of their own. Sotoso on the left-hand side. Davy saw him coming in here on that Jing way. Didn't fall for the trap just yet. Sotos is still equal level, has the speed buff, and will attempt to steal away the purple too. Davy would just watch on, realizing he can't really do much about that.
Good decision not to try and take that fight. It's an even fight in terms of levels, but not in terms of damage output at this point in the game. Davy is a late game hunter. All hunters kind of inherently late game, but particularly Jingwei really just needs itemization. She needs effects on those auto attacks more than anything else.
Well, you did mention Totti. Will he go for some crit? This game, he has picked up that rage now after the Yassi to go that Transcendence. And he's doing a lot more player damage this time round. Davy, meanwhile, gone for the Chins route on Jingwei.
Wow.
How do you feel? I'm still not sold on Chin's Jing. I don't know why. I think it's just because she's got crit in a kit. Right?
Yeah, when crit's this good, buy it. I mean, you can get 100% crit chance without a 20% crit chance stim on your 2, but Jingwei can get it a lot earlier. And I get it. Oh, you know, I don't necessarily want to go crit against Geb because Geb takes reduced damage from crits.
But then there's also Spectral Armor as well this season.
Yeah, I mean,
Not seen too much just yet.
if you're going to get to hit Geb with 10 autos, he's going to die no matter what build you have at some point, right? Like maybe the crit build makes you auto him 2 extra times, 3 extra times, and that can matter, but I just think it's so much better against everybody else on Jingwei that that's not the way route I would have gone.
I'll say this round JustF6 nearly caught Gnome in an awkward spot there. The whole team basically got here before Pikarinoobs even know what was going on. Now Pikarinoobs are back here again, and it's kind of a dance-off. This 20-minute mark, and I'm not confident for either side. This has been all 3 games that it's kind of come down to 25, 30 minutes before we start to see any sort of redevelopment.
He's got to use those beads in mid. Rottwen still gets tossed back, but he's a little bit too tanky to really have too much to worry about. I agree that both these games have been slow to develop into the ultimate end game. They've been fast in action at times early on, but a lot of it has ended up being not that important, which makes me kind of question this Thanatos pick for Sotos. If we know that's the way the set has gone, were they trying to just blow it wide open and get him off to a lead early? They did. They got him that early assist, but has done very little since then. He's below Rottwen in player damage.
Yeah, and Rottwen just going to continue to form. I mean, for Rottwen specifically this game, it's kind of the engage, I guess, alongside Achilles once again. Blink initiation, Geb is standard, and Blink, you know, when the Achilles to do the same sort of thing with the stun, are the only real options of engage they have here. But then again, when you look at Pikarinoobs, they're kind of relying on the same sort of thing out of Mizzega again here, where he's going to have to Blink initiate, because outside of that, what is it? Run it down with Osiris, right?
Not a whole lot. You do have to just wait to counter initiate or maybe find a Rapio on a flank. Rapio does have Blink, so maybe he finds a carry out of position and tries to one-tap them, but a little bit harder to do that with a Geb around.
Primal Fury coming up relatively soon. You can see everybody starting to rotate towards this part of the map. Position so far is in Pikarinoobs' favor. We'll see what they can make use of this there, but the Kukulkan is always a threat at this sort of range to try and strip it away and force a reset. Gnome front lining, pops the Thorns early. Darkest of Nights will force a reset out of Pikarinoobs and the Primal Fury, funny enough. And that gives a bit more of a window for JustF6 to answer back, because Gnome did lose quite a bit of health there.
Getting back and upgrade his TP and be back here pretty quickly, though.
And so, ooh, Sotos with a blink. Did look to try and cancel out, but I don't think he realized that someone was going to be that close all there. Primal Fury getting low, getting real low, and it's going to be just stripped away by JustF6. But Rapio may want to try and get back involved. Good ultimate from Mizzega, only really catching Rottwen, who returns with an ult of his own. Focuses on get out from Pikarinoobs, and Davey will get credit for the kill. Spirit of the Nine wins, connects on Davey, and that will take him out of the fight. Sotos in the back was dealing with Rapio, and unfortunately, Davey goes, thanks very much, I'll take a double on my exit.
Hey, maybe the pen builds the call. He killed Rottwen awfully quickly by dashing in, and that's because the double magical defense stacked by Rottwen.
Yeah.
Rapio, Pikarino, and Mizzega are going to do a decent amount of damage to him normally, so he itemizes against that, but
Nice blink in from Pikarino, getting aggressive against RemagDoku, who will use the Aegis defensively. I know it's Otti who turns it around, knowing Pikarino doesn't have the flicker available. Overextension from Pikarino there, punished, and now it could be time for JustF6 to get aggressive again.
I don't know what the dream scenario was for Pikarino, but he should have known that the rest of JustF6 were all on vision for Pikarinoobs. They were
expect
sitting
his team to like just rush in with him, like, you know, all in.
I guess, but they still never save him in that spot. He still always dies in that situation. He at least holds on to the relics, which is positive in my mind because he was dead no matter what relics he used, but not the best decision making there from Pikarino.
Still a 2K goal lead for JustF6 up against Pikarinoobs. They took game one. Pikarinoobs answered back to equal this one out. And in this group stage, I've been saying it a couple of times, this is very important for the two. Losers probably going down to the Smite Open circuit.
Huge, and we only got one set left today, so that one is probably going to determine quite a bit. This also has a lot riding on it. This is a must-win for both of these teams.
And now Pyro pulled again. The last couple of these objectives have gone very favorably in JustF6's favor, mainly because of the Spirit of the Nine Winds being such an impactful ultimate around these objectives. Sure, Merlin's great at clearing it, but securing it, different story.
Not good at all. And Kukulkan has a lot of different tools to secure. Zephyr is honestly a pretty good secure in its own right.
Yeah.
That first ability does a lot of burst damage.
Once you got the poly online too, it just helps out even more.
Yep, not yet. It looks like that's going to be a 6th item poly, if at all, for Doku. This Divine Ruin that he picked up to try and knock down this Bancroft ceiling. I think I would have preferred something else.
Nice little burst at the tail end there from JustF6. Everyone just like throw out an ability at the same time. Don't want to use the big time ultimates if we can. Pikarinoobs not really in a position to do much outside of maybe Gnome. Throwing out a bit of damage there to try and secure. JustF6 being quite patient here, it looks like.
Still a little bit scared, I think, of the turnaround potential. And Pikarinoobs have really just waited oftentimes for JustF6 to get a little bit aggressive.
Yeah.
Think back to that Gold Fury fight. That's pretty much exactly how that went.
It's the tension though, right? Like when you're in a situation like this where it all matters, you played yourself, right? Do you get tense in those? Did you ever get a situation where it was important? I don't know, right?
Yeah. There were some pretty important ones. You feel it, but not as much as you think. It's kind of just in the back of your mind.
Back of your mind, but not like on the forefront.
No, not at all.
It looks like you can see that. So Doku gets in on the Gnome. Gnome doing a really good job there. Good Spirit of the Night wins and gets himself peeled. Does good damage to an execute range, but where's the executors? There's one! As Sotos takes his life, and the chase is on for Mizzega. Blink, and a nice little shot will secure it, but now Sotos is overextended, and the rest of his team are nowhere to be found. Nice little bit of damage again onto Davey to really shut it down, but Rapio's ult is great. Not enough for a kill at all, and Sotos is still alive.
Really good shield by Rottwen. That saves the life of Sotos in that moment. Rapio has to use the beads. That silence from Sotos came up clutch. Good fight for the Thanatos. That's the first time Sotos really been able to make an impact so far since
But a good one.
The very beginning of the game, and it's a huge one. Execute the 2 tanks. That's the whole game plan for Thanatos right there. Get the tanks low late game, execute them, then use the scythe to kill the other one because of the percent health damage, and then we try and waterfall from there. We're still working on that last part, but the first 2 worked well.
Credit where it's due, though, to RemagDoku. He gets caught out of position, first of all, but the turnaround play of at least having the presence of mind to use his ultimate and get that much damage off, turn that into at least a 2-for-1 before the tail end of that fight. So it bought JustF6 a bit of time, and Pikarino's got to adjust off that. They're going to be aware that that's what Cuckoo's going to do if you all in him.
You have to save that Osiris ult to get up and over Spirit of the Nine Winds. That's basically the only way to do it. I say it a lot as a mage player. Don't worry about dying. Just get your damage.
Like using the last fight means this could be a bit of a trickier task for Pikarino to get in and defend the Fire Giant. Remember, Cuckoo's ult is up, and it's down across the Fire Giant's brow. With that, JustF6 can now walk back again, and the Primal Fury is coming up soon. Not too many towers to speak of for either side here, just tier 2 towers remaining.
I feel like Pikarinoobs just lacked a little bit of urgency there to get back and be in defensive posture. Look at how many wards they have in inventory. They didn't really get a chance to place any of them around that Fire Giant. They didn't get there with urgency, and that's a big thing, is how quickly are we backing, getting out of base, not wasting any time stopping at back camps. Things like that, it's discipline that's important.
Talking about discipline, that's a really good play from them, though. Just to answer back real quick at that Primal, they had a sense that JustF6 were on the right-hand side, probably basing, spend some of that gold, and get ready for the Fire Giant push, so denying that Primal Fury is important. Gnome on the back. Did find Doku for a second, but JustF6 spotted it out in time. Gnome actually ate that tornado a bit more than bargained for. Has to be a little bit more careful here. Has a bit more magical resistance, though, now at this stage, so it's not going to be too doom and gloom. He's going to be eating a lot of those tornadoes, I expect.
But Doku's got a little bit more pen than he did last time that fight started. He's got a Charon's coin, so that's a 20% pen item. 30% total. He's in a pretty decent spot. Looks like he's building towards what will be a Polynomicon. Could also be a Book of the Dead, which is a good item against the draft Pikarinoobs. You want that against characters who are going to try and one-shot you. Hopwa and Jing both fit that bill. Maybe I think I'd go Poly, wait to sell boots for Book of the Dead. I think that's the way I would do it. And then I'd have the whole library right in front of me.
That's true. You do. The whole one. You nerd. JustF6, though, I love their composition here. Because on Phoenix Siege, oh, we got Darkest of Nights. No one's going to get to see where these Spirit of the Nine Winds are coming from. I've got Hovering Death shooting on 3 potentially to cause problems. And they've still got an Achilles and a Gem to shield teammates. This is tricky for Pikarinoobs now. I understand that they're giving up the tier 2s because they think Phoenix line is going to be their best form of defense. But boy, oh boy, does JustF6 on a really good siege.
It's just always hard against Xbalanque. He makes everything you do harder at a competitive level. He's just a really strong god to have to play around. And I think teams are struggling a little bit against him right now because he's back in the meta for the first time in a little bit. I bet you we're going to be seeing a lot of X-Ball.
It's maybe the branching bowler is what got a bit more love, right? Just increase the amount of damage that it's going to do off the Splinter, which is making more of an impact in the laning phase and team fights too.
It's huge, and I don't think it's even in this patch.
No, it's not.
I think it's in the next one that's
why I
coming
didn't bring
out.
it up yet, but I was like, well, I know it's getting buffed. You mentioned it.
Yeah,
so.
it is going to be getting buffed, and so he's only going to get better. Works well with crit. We already highlighted that he has the highest power of any hunter because of his passive in the 1 stim. Gets an extra what?
Do you reckon Assy without anything on Jibba could be a viable mod because he gets that bonus power?
No, I don't think so. I mean, this build path looks good to me.
Yeah, it does. I agree.
I mean, maybe you could trade out that Aussie for Blood Forge, but then you're a little bit low on attack speed, so that it doesn't feel great.
Oh, no, you said Blood Forge. Yeah,
yeah, it feels a little bit bad.
It takes longer to build that too. It's a much more expensive item, I guess.
It does.
Although, again, Assy's what, 25.50 now, right?
Yeah.
So it's surprising how much more expensive that did get over time.
Man, what I would kill to have one of my expensive items be only $25.50.
There we go.
Let me tell you, hunters have it so easy, man. They have it so easy, and they complain the most. I don't understand.
It's part of the role.
I guess so.
When you sign up, you have to agree to certain terms and conditions.
Yeah, I guess that's the case.
One of those is complain about being underpowered
all
even
the time
when you're overpowered.
They've been the best carry role. If you don't count junglers as carries.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying, like, of the backline carry roles between mid and hunter, how many seasons, in season 7, how many seasons do you think mid was the best of those two? I think it's been 1 season. It was like...
Mid was best? I'd say probably 2 to 3.
No, 3 seasons, you're on something, man.
Probably two.
No, which ones were they better than hunters?
Did we discuss the fact that we put mages in the dual lane last season?
Right.
Why?
Okay, I'm saying mid versus hunter.
Oh, here we go.
Mid
you can't
versus long lane.
You do role or you do class. You don't do both. You do position.
Okay, role.
Or you do role.
Okay, I'm doing role.
Right.
Mid versus long lane.
Okay.
Mid has been
mages went into the long lane.
Okay.
So that says mages are better than hunters clearly because we put them in the long lane.
It meant the role was better, not the class. Okay. The role was better. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Chat didn't come to the TED Talk. Chat did not like that TED Talk.
Are they here?
Yes, they are.
Then they came to my TED Talk.
Spirit.
Then they came to my TED Talk.
Waiting for the next Fire Giant fight to really begin at the moment. 15 seconds or less on the FG spawning. It will be an enhanced one again. And the majority of the enhanced ones is what we've kind of seen today. There wasn't too many early fires so far in the series between the two. This one's going to be a big one, and I'm definitely favoring JustF6 at the moment. Something has to happen for Pikarinoobs, though. I need to see some of these players get involved. Merlin really struggling on the player damage and getting involved here so far. Same can be said by the other carries. Rapio and Jing all really around 12,000 player damage at 33 minutes.
Right in that same area, and it's not because the soul laners have been on top of them this whole game. Normally that's what you'd think when you see low carry player damage numbers.
You just zone so much?
Yeah, it's just been these team fights have been over pretty quickly, and they've been pretty split. It's really been the backline from JustF6 getting dove and getting their damage off, and then getting the front line, killing the enemy front line, and by that point, Rapio and Pikarino and Davey kind of have to get out of dodge. They only have 3 deaths between the 3 of them.
See all those pings on Sotos again. And still, again, his jungle presence of mind of where to position is something that we see out of pro players a lot of the time, where they're just off to the wing, causing problems where they can. Tornado hit Davey, and that caused problems. Rottwen got flipped around by Mizzega, and Mizzega ends up eating some of that Spirit of the Nine Winds. Rapio's health bar's too low, and Gnome, who was trying to front line on the other side, is under a lot of duress as well. Execute Threshold has been primed, and Sotos will take the life of the solo. And the chase is on for the rest of the Pikarinoobs. Rottwen slows down Mizzega. No double dash available this time round, friend. He gets a bit of help out of Merlin, but it ain't enough. And that's the front line dead for the Pikarinoobs.
That's the perfect team fight for an assassin. You spend the whole fight going, oh, I didn't see, oh, I get it, I got executed.
Yeah.
You never see him until it's way too late.
You get the heartbeat sensor too, but you're like, yeah, I'm dead.
Yeah, he must not be here. We haven't seen him the whole time, and I'm dead. That's usually how it ends up going. Really good fight. And again, Pikarinoob's backline just too scared to go in. Every relic is up for everyone on
It's the
Pikarinoobs.
choke point to get to Kukulkan as well, right? Like,
Scary.
They tried to funnel through that gap, and they were far enough away to avoid the ultimate, but that also meant they were far enough away to not deal any damage.
Exactly. They did no damage at all in that team fight.
Oh.
Try and get,
Close.
That
Close.
was really close. I thought Odin was going to end up getting it. That's big to get the Oni Fury, because that would have really helped the siege of JustF6. It doesn't
point.
matter too much for Pikarinoobs to get it. It'll be very easy for JustF6
one
to
wave
clear.
clear, right?
Yeah, easy to do. But it just matters to take it away from JustF6, because their siege would have been that much better with those Oni minutes.
Really surprised by Pikarinoobs, really struggling here, but to be fair, this JustF6 team that's come out of nowhere is given as good as they got.
Yeah.
You know, like, you don't often see players appear at this sort of level where people haven't recognized too much before, making names for themselves today so far.
They're playing well. They're playing well
With
so
9
far.
kills to 10, by the way.
A little bit of a more EU pace
Yeah.
for sure. That's
It's
the
been
way
a while.
Yeah, wait. We've kind of had EU pace the last 2 days. We've had some long ones.
And that generally happens, like the fans at home will know been around too. It generally happens at the start of the year because a lot of people kind of learning the meta still. No one really knows what's OP and what's not. Sure, Yemoja's really strong, right? But like, what's a good composition? What's a good pace? Where do we find advantages? They're harder to come by at the moment.
I agree.
Until the pros get hold of it, and then who knows?
You either see lots of long games or lots of blowouts, because some
Yeah.
teams figure out the meta and then some teams don't. So far, it's been a lot of long ones so far, for sure.
JustF6 trying to split the map up a little bit. They do have 5 minions on that right-hand side. You can see the pings that just went towards that solo lane to show that green is what that 5 minion wave will be. And so having Sotos in mid to try and split the difference, this is a good option, because Sotos keeps it up late to these fights anyway with the ultimate for execute.
Easily.
So if he can keep someone trapped in mid, it's harder for them to get over there.
But can Rapio take this 1v1 against Sotos? That's usually a big deal. Which assassin
discussed that,
wins
right?
this 1v1? If Rapio hits the knockup, I like his odds. He's got a lot of
If Sotos
sustain.
hits the scythe, I like his odds.
That's true. It's often also which one leads. If you're leading with Scythe, then Rapio could heal a lot of that up by
point.
knocking you up and water handsing you. If you get knocked up and then you land and immediately silence and one him, then maybe the Thanatos wins.
I think like silencing a Thanatos is one of the. It's almost a bait trap for a Thanatos to do it because
Takes
the
too
wind
long.
up
Yeah,
is
it
so
takes too long.
right?
You'll get interrupted. Rapio should be good enough to just knock you up as soon as he sees that
Oh,
animation.
engaging mid from Oti. He's going in on Rapio, but backup is there for Pikarinoobs. Rapio's going to be fine for now. Sotos to the sky. Won't be able to find the execute on Rapio, who got back to safety. Rapio actually blinked away back to the fountain just in case Sotos did go for that execute there. But that middle Phoenix is still alive.
But Sotos gets to heal back up between Fire Giant, his own passive, and the Blood Forge that he has in the build. So not too big of a deal for him. He still has relics up as well.
Ultimate's still available for Doku and Rottwen here. Blink available for that Geb too. He's the real initiating factor here.
The biggest thing is that Totti had to use his ultimate.
Yeah.
Having Darkest of Nights on cooldown is a big deal.
Rottwen walks in, Ulti's tanking up the front line for now. Rottwen tries to get to the back. Tornado from Doku's zone. Rapio trying to get in there, but blocked by Mizzega for a second. Unfortunately, everybody falls away again. About another 40 seconds or so in this FG, by the way, before it tails off. You see the pings on the right-hand side as Rottwen goes in. Catches him, only catches Mizzega. The flick with Pikarino was good. Gnome jumps in on the other side of that to force back the carries. And they're still going to hold firm here. Nice work from Merlin for the first time this game, I'd say. Dealing some relative damage, but it's not enough to slow him down just yet. In goes Otti again, and oh my god, look at that Titan!
Already low, half HP from that fire wave, but Rottwen even lower than that. No way he can get involved now.
And with that, they're going to slowly have to limp away JustF6. All three Phoenixes are alive. And actually, in doing so, that actually gives him a bit more of a chance. By letting that minion wave into the Titan room, it means that Phoenix will regen a little bit.
True.
And so will the Titan now that all these Phoenixes are up.
Yeah, a bit unlucky almost for JustF6 that their
in
waves
disguise.
don't sync up nicely enough to end up killing that right side Phoenix at the exact same time. A good defense by Pikarinoobs. That's Merlin on defense, man. He's really, really tough to get through.
Should I just rush it down and just ult the Titan at that point as Doku? That's what I'm thinking about.
No.
In some of your ranked games, you've definitely seen players go for that.
And then they insta-die,
Yeah.
reset the Titan to heal
Throw
it,
the game.
throw the game, and everyone
then
hates them.
report.
Yes, yeah,
Kukulkan.
exactly.
Yeah, okay.
That's why
We've
we
been
don't
there.
do that. Yeah, we don't do that one.
That's a good point on the kill still. 19 kills in 39 minutes. Oof.
That was a whole Fire Giant Phoenix siege.
With no what deaths.
With no deaths.
Yeah.
No deaths whatsoever. That's clean play. That's the way I'm going to describe it. EU play, baby.
EU version,
That's what
version
NA,
7.
we don't care at
Because you
all.
just hold W.
Yes, that's
You
what it's
don't
all
think.
about. Get
You know what
in
it is?
there, baby.
You don't have any logic in NA. That's the issue.
Who needs it, man?
There's no brain cells.
Logic.
You lose them all playing American football in school or something.
There's no W in logic, you know? you can't use W key and logic at the same time. We're getting in there. We get the hands dirty.
Fire Giant again then for JustF6. I'm not surprised that Pikarinoobs are not here to try and defend. They're going to wait on the line because it
Why not?
worked for them last time round.
Yeah, exactly. They defended against an enhanced Fire Giant last time. Why not just do it again this time around? I think it makes a ton of sense.
We split them up again. 4 in right, 1 in mid.
Yeah, I mean, Sotos can't really be in the initial engagement. He just note he's got a little bit of tankiness, but not that much. I feel like it's correct for him to just wait until the engagement gets kicked off and proper.
I did like the idea on JustF6 in the last siege where they just like blinked in with 2 into that middle area trying to make a 2v1 scenario. But Pikarinoobs were just wise to it and escaped the danger. Now though, with this weakened Phoenix on the right hand side, a little bit trickier to defend it this time around. I guess this is enhanced Fire Giant buff. I think a lot of people don't realizing how little damage they'll actually take from the Phoenix these days.
You can get in there for a little bit, especially when, you end up getting this enhanced Fire Giant buff. You're regenning a lot.
Yeah.
Feels pretty tough. I mean, especially when you have all these tank items. I'm surprised, honestly, that boots are still there for the tanks.
Oh, in goes Totti onto Pikarino, who didn't panic there. No beats used at all. Good whip from Mizzega to create some room, but the Darks of Knights will make the biggest of rooms for that right-hand Phoenix. Great shield out of Rottwen, though. Keeping Sotos alive, but Rapio's around. And you saw that preemptive silence just in case Rapio started to get fancy. Phoenix been down. We're still in the same spot as we were a few minutes ago.
Yep, exactly the same spot. Without beads this time, though, for Sotos. Even despite the really great shield from Rottwen, Sotos instinctively beads on that ultimate from Mizzega. Still having no ultimate for Davy. He still has relics, though. He had a really good ult just to keep himself alive without having to use a relic. No Heartseeker in the build for Sotos, so that one-shot potential really isn't there. You kind of need that if you want to one-tap someone off the Thanatos ult without any sort of time to react.
The only problem I see for Pikarinoobs is they're really relying on JustF6 making a mistake.
Yes.
But I've not really seen enough of a mistake to really throw the game at this point. Sure, we are approaching probably 60-second respawns, but there's still how many towers still on the other side of the map to try and run it down and end the game in response?
Oh, Pikarinoobs can end. If they 4-for-1 or something like that,
They can still push.
they can still end. Yeah, I mean, these respawn timers are so long, and yes, there are a lot of towers, but there's so much more power in the builds for Pikarinoobs at this point than the usual 25-minute wipe or 30-minute wipe that I think they could end.
JustF6 then on the front line. Once again, just keep an eye on Rottwen. He's the only real engage alongside CaptainOti. But Oti doesn't have his blink available just yet. A bit trickier to do so. He can take a couple of shots if needed. There's the blink. Davey immediately beads away. Rottwen eating a bit of damage. Mizzega trying to slow down the front line and catches Rottwen in the ring. Throws him back under the Phoenix, but the Phoenix not under threat. Meanwhile, Rapio against Sotos.
Oh, mantle!
Big plays from the mantle to keep Rapio up. Sotos is dead. And the left-hand Phoenix, it's gonna finally fall.
Finally, Sotos able to get it, but he was a little bit too focused on killing Rapio. Mizzega or Gnome, one of the frontliners, was in execute range for a little bit. Maybe if he would have took off the gas pedal a little bit and gone for the execute, we could be talking about a JustF6 victory right now. But
JustF6, funny enough, I know we talked a little bit earlier about, like, you know, pressure situations, stuff like that. For a team that we don't recognize playing against these guys with a shot at the SCC, like, this is a big scalp to take in this Pikarinoobs team, right? So, like,
is good.
Playing it really safe for how JustF6 is doing, I can completely understand.
I get it for sure, but you can only play safe
more windows,
for so
right?
long. Exactly, yeah, you're just buying time for them. I believe they're
this is the play.
This
is
is
the be-all and end-all.
Or did they just pass a ward? No,
It's
that was
a
their own
trap.
ward. Okay.
Well, the problem is who they're going to try and trap Doku when left or red. They pinged
Odin
him.
saw them. No, he
Chases
didn't.
on. Doku's trying to get away. Up, down, does connect. Beach use ultimate use as well. Great ultimate onto Doku. Doku is out of the game. Big play for Pikarinoobs. Next on the list would have been Rottwen. Recognize the danger and blinks away. We're going to stall a little while here. That's not enough to allow Pikarinoobs to turn this game just yet. But they are the keys to potentially a comeback.
Smart. I mean, you get the Kukulkan beads, get him down for a minute. That's a minute that you don't have to worry about him. I don't know if that's going to be enough to let Pikarinoobs get fire. That's spawning in 35 seconds, but...
Did you go for fire?
I wouldn't. No, I mean,
wouldn't?
no, your defense is still strong. You still play defenses fairly well. That last one didn't go perfectly, but
mean,
the
this
one
is the
before that did.
Best chance, though, with Doku not being there on that Kukulkan. Like, this is your window.
I suppose. You've got your left wave pretty pushed, and your right side Phoenix is coming up, so...
Looks like they're thinking about it, though, without the map's
It's
positioning
tempting.
right now.
It's tempting, for sure.
Still-
But Rapio, no beads for 30 seconds. The biggest thing that would tempt me is that we know that Doku's beads are down for a while.
That's true.
65 seconds. That would be the biggest temptation to try and get in there right now before JustF6 can reset and get those beads back up.
FG up, 6 seconds on Doku respawning. Right-hand Phoenix is about to respawn and has done so. The dance of the FG begins, and they've got about as much time here until those green minions on that left-hand side of your map get to that Phoenix area.
Just got to clear out this last fire wave on the right-hand side. There's one more pushing.
I don't think they got
Close
it.
enough.
They pulled the FG instead. That's what Pikarinoobs chose to do. Rottwen's
Doku's here.
watching on, and Doku is back in the fight. Knockup not available for Mizzega. Busy gets aggressive again on the front side. Tries to zone them all the way and does a good job. JustF6 very patient, very willing to allow Pikarinoobs to be in this position. The ping to the right side, see? Just giving the window that someone's going to have to defend. Pikarinoobs would do that. As soon as that happens, the charge in from JustF6. AppointedGnome's the furthest forward, gets knocked up. Follow damage isn't really there. Left-hand side, remember, look at those Phoenix minions, fire minions, sorry. They are creeping up nice and quick, and the pings are there. Fire Giant pulled. What can we see next?
Doku's beads are back up, so that window is now gone. This is just risky now.
Oh, blinking from Mizzega, looking at Sotos. Sotos will get a nice shield out of Rottwen. Mizzega's in very deep, looks for an ultimate, only finds one, and it's a Geb. Not the prime target, who follows up with the cataclysm back. In with the Spirit of the Night Winds goes Doku and takes out Rapio before he could even get his ultimate off. After that, Totti into the front line, looking for the carry and Davy at the back, and Oti and him will do good work there. The rest of JustF6 busy dealing with Mizzega. Fire minions, by the way, where are they, Ryan?
Oh, they're on the Titan, but don't worry about that, Graham. Let's just keep on fighting as long as we can.
And Davey being chased to make sure he can't get back to base. Another fire minion wave pouring in towards that Titan room. The Pikarino has respawned though. Luckily enough, Merlin will hold this for now. But guess what? I don't think JustF6 care anymore.
Nope, 40 seconds on Rapio, and he's the next one up. Now, their front line is a bit weak in Rottwen. They have to kill one Phoenix so they can get in there and try and end.
Okay, so it's down.
They don't have fire. They don't have any sustain. They actually can't end.
I think they could have. I really think that
No,
should have
because
been
they had to get a Phoenix because the Titan was a mute. they had to get a Phoenix because they couldn't have hit the Titan with all 3 Phoenixes.
But I think
have
after the Phoenix, they
respawned.
still could have done it.
Maybe.
The Phoenix's health, the Titan's health is so low. 1 tornado is all they need. 1 Death Scythe, alongside some damage out of Totti. The 2 characters of Pikarino and Davey can't kill them all.
I think they
damage
can.
dealers.
I think they can. I mean, Pikarino had all of his relics. Here's what you do. You throw the Eclipse on the back line, the Vortex. The front line comes on you. You immediately beads, flicker past them, change stance into fire. You kill both carries like that. You can do it.
Well,
and that's not even to say what Davey's doing with that Odysseus spell.
Better safe than sorry was the call from JustF6 here. Left on Phoenix down, Fire Giant again, but Pikarinoobs are back in force one more time. Relic situation. Frenzy down a little bit longer here for Mizzega. More importantly, Rapio's beads are on cooldown for another 40 plus seconds. I wonder if JustF6 know that.
I think they probably have a good
Do you?
idea.
Because I think Doku's ult kind of caught Rapio
It
square.
did, and it's because SCC used that Darkest of Night, or Totti rather had the Darkest of Night and obscured his vision, but Rottwen got his beats with the Cataclysm after Mizzega kind of delivered a good
Mizzega can't be
initiation.
in mid here. He needs to be on the right-hand side more importantly, but Rapio gets a kill on sight. That's huge. But how can Rapio get away? Davey dashing in to try and get out to Doku. Great ult from Rottwen to slow him down, but an even better one from Mizzega. Doku does at least take down Rapio. Davey went to the back, and Davey's in no man's land now. Back to Davey Jones's locker, so to speak. Left-hand side, fire minions pouring on in once again. 3v5, sorry, should I say 4, without Totti. This is tricky.
It is, but those left side fire minions, I mean, you can just sneak past and just keep everybody
Keep 'em busy.
here, and SCC might be doing just that.
And that's why you can see Gnome trying to keep track of him too. The charge into the
Oh,
Titan
that's
room.
cheeky.
We're all going through. JustF6 are going to take this game 2-1 over Pikarinoobs.
Man, hard fought. Just 27 kills in 49 minutes. That last team fight, I mean, Rapio makes the big play, one-shots the enemy, late-game X-Ball. That's as good as you can ask for the one-for-one trade for Hebo. But Davey overcommits a little bit, tries to do the same sort of thing, and Doku's able to stand strong, SCC as well, and he's the one who ends up ending the game.
JustF6 is a team, though. I mean, talk about them for a little bit as we look at the standings and the stats at the end of that game. There was no standout player. I felt like it was a team. Unity is what I saw there.
Yeah, Doku had a really good game.
It's like very much a old Cyclone.
A little bit, yeah. They
You know what I mean?
they definitely have good teamwork. I think that they still, I mean, 12k damage out of your jungler doesn't excite me too much. I know he's
7k out of a Gab at 40 minutes. That's a bit crazy. But
yeah, I mean, we got to be doing a little bit more engagements here, but 41,000 damage. If you were wondering why Kukulkan is pretty much a permaban at this point, I
That's
think you
why.
got a pretty good idea.
This was that blink initiation straight away from Sotos at the beginning of that game 3 that really just put the ball into JustF6 court. And from that moment on, it really felt like Pikarinoobs in game 3 were always trying to play catch-up.
They were, and SCC got off to a really good start. Remember, he went over, got the kill in mid with the assist there, got this kill, and then, frankly, did a whole lot of nothing for about 40 minutes after
Well, then
that.
neither did
but
anybody else in the game, to be
That's
fair.
true.
It was
Well-
much a battle of wills and positioning that came down to objectives more than anything else.
And Doku was on point on this Kukulkan, ultimately. Rottwen had a couple really nice ultimates. I think that Mizzega tossing the full health Geb right towards his team at the very end, that is not where you want the front line at that point
If
in
you're
the
in
game.
Gab and you've got ult, you're like, yes, please.
Yeah, exactly.
Put me there.
And Mizzega kind of got the free blink, so to speak.
Great work out of JustF6, though. Obviously, Pikarinoobs in a very tough spot. I don't even know if they can get out of the group anymore. But it does mean that JustF6 now have an opportunity. I think they've got to take on Froy in the first-time Combine. And I think whoever wins that is going to take that last spot now.
That's huge. That's huge. Because this team is not a team that I think everyone would have expected to make it out of this group
Especially
stage.
after
And
60 earlier on, right?
I know, losing to 60, but you go 1-1 in the 2 broadcast games we have. If you can get to those 2-3 set wins, you're in the clear and you're going to make it into the SCC.
Well, with that, we're going to take a quick break. But during the meantime, we'll have a little look at Mulan, who's available right now.
She's fun.
Is she?
Yeah.